past all of them as well. What a move to the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Need expert support for your sim racing setup? SimRig Support has you covered. With over 2,000 hours of experience, our team excels in diagnosing and resolving issues swiftly. Submit a ticket for remote help, send us your hardware with a prepaid label, or book an on-site visit. We handle all major brands from wheel to PC problems. Trust SimRig Support to keep you racing.
And here we are again then, ready to go racing on this Wednesday evening. Of course, it's all of the Formula racing that you could possibly imagine as we prepare for the British Formula 4 Esports Championship coming up a little bit later on this evening. But of course, we'll start with the Formula 4s and we'll start with the important stuff. Lewis McGlade, Cam Roger alongside me in the booth, but we are here for the first ever time going international in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. It is time to go to Circuit Zandvoort. This is going to be a fun one, obviously imitating what we did in the real life of the British Formula 4 Championship, where it visited the Circuit Zandvoort a little bit earlier on in the year. This is going to be a fun one, Cam.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait to see how this one is going to go. Something a bit different, a different style of track. And of course, with the updated Zandvoort as well, plenty of opportunities. It's quite a big track, actually, for this style of car. So I'm very interested to see how it works, but it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really should be. Obviously, so much history and tradition in the motorsport around here. Of course, most recently with being re-added to the Formula 1 circuits. But of course, with it joining the British Formula 4 Canada. We'll talk you through the format of the evening. Of course, here in the Formula 4s, we'll be starting with qualifying, which will be coming up in a few minutes' time. And then they'll be alone on the circuit by themselves. They get 4 laps to set their lap times. Then we'll go into the first race, have a little bit of a break. We'll go into the second race, which is the reverse grid, requiring the spinny wheel of doom to see which position is going to be starting from the reverse grid pole. Of course, after that is all done, the British Formula 4 Esports Championship will begin. So if that's what you're here to join for, I mean, hey, stay for the Formula 4. It's always exciting anyway.
Oh, absolutely. It's great fun with these cars. They move around all over the place. Some great racing. You can really guess out of them. There might be no wings. It might look a bit funny compared to the Formula cars of the current generation, but it's certainly going to be a lot of fun. And the obviously the tracks that we race on, we started at Brands Indy, we come to Zandvoort, and it's a completely different style. So I think we're going to see, some different tactics from the drivers today.
Yeah, certainly so. It's a very different style of racetrack. More close to what we had with the Silverstone Grand Prix last year, where, of course, we had a fair share of dramas, especially here in the Formula 4. It's very interesting indeed. Circuit Zandvoort should be wide open for racing in cars like this. And of course, you can see then we'll go to Snetterton, to Alton Park, Silverstone, to Knockhill, and then of course to Donington Park, and then back to Brands Hatch to round out the season in November. Of course, if you are a British Formula 4 fan, that is where the British Formula 4 Championship is heading at the weekend, of course, to round out its 2024 Championship, although Deacon Fairclough's already won it. So I guess that one's already settled, but that's fine. Of course, we'll take a look at the points here where things are definitely not settled. Mark Fletcher leading by Lewis Werrell after the double podium for Fletcher back at Brands Indy. Werrell on the top by 16. Fletcher on top by 16 points over Werrell. Jonathan Smith up there. Shomi Shintani took the victory in the second race, but had very large issues in the first race, finishing right the way down the order. Ben Smith up there, of course, with Harvey Jones, Crofton Woodhatch, who we did have a little chat with podium in the first race. There's a bit of drama in the second. Jack Badger, Mike Pollard and Ryan Elliott inside the top 10. A couple of other drivers to talk about that aren't in that group. You've got Hans Jakob Sigurdsson Moller as well. Certainly someone to keep an eye on this evening. Showed some great speed. Actually was the fastest in practice, but didn't really score the points. Also, I believe we've got Sikorsky returning for this round, who actually had a podium when we went at Silverstone Grand Prix last year.
Yes, absolutely insane grid. The racing that we saw last time out was very good. We saw the likes of Shintani starting down in 6th place, able to get himself up towards the front on a very difficult track as well. So I think the drivers who can have a little bit of race strategy are able to obviously get themselves towards the front of the field with a little bit of overtaking are going to be obviously the ones to come out very wide there at the final corner, just showing you maybe some of the liberties that drivers can take to try and get the overtake down this really long front straight.
Yeah, indeed. This is practice, though. You just saw the end of practice, the wrapping up of practice. They're about to head into qualifying, where, again, they'll be given 10 minutes around here and given a couple of laps, basically, a few laps to put in their lap time. Mistakes around here, then, because you only have a certain few lap times, and the lap times will be quite long. It's just over 100 seconds around here. Getting a clean lap in is going to be critical, Cam.
It absolutely is a long time, obviously, compared to, as you're saying, Brands Indy. Obviously, they still have the same amount of total laps that they can do, but the actual lap itself is quite a bit longer, a lot more corners to nail. And if you make a mistake early on, it's going to be very difficult. Remember, these cars, they're very momentum-based. And especially, for instance, for this corner here with the new banking, getting that run, not having a slide on the exit, you're going to take that speed all the way up to Sky Flag at the top of the hill is going to be very important.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know where we're going to see a lot of the overtakes around here. You do get down into turn 1, fair enough, because you can go around the outside of turn 1. But certainly, down here in Sky Flag, you can definitely make moves around this part in cars this. The only thing is, because again, their profile is quite wide. We saw issues at Graham Hill Bend, for example, back at Brands Indy. I wonder if it might cause some problems in this as well.
Yeah, we saw multiple times the wheels interlocking between drivers trying to go side by side. You could see it always looks like, an insect with the legs just sticking out so wide. And if they obviously make contact, that is not good indeed. Really puts the car off balance. And also they can just hook around each other and spin. And that's one thing that we had the issue with Crofton Woodhatch, who we got on board with us now. He was very fast last time, got the pole position, but unfortunately he just got caught up in a few incidents, maybe just pushing the limits a little bit too much. So hopefully he's learned from that and can really show his speed and get back on that podium.
Yeah, do remember as well with this qualifying is that they are all on the circuit by themselves. So they can't see anyone else. They can't interact with anyone else's lap time. It's just them and the track, which is always, it's kind of how you'd want to qualify around here, especially with a handful of laps. I am seeing, by the way, in-game, it's actually 3 laps that they get around here. I think it's because of the nature of the circuit being longer than what we had at Brands Indy. Brands Indy was 4. It's actually, you get 3 laps around here. So you got to make it right. Coming out through the final corner then and into the banking. This is to begin the first lap time for Crofton Woodhatch. And whilst he was on the pole last round, let's take a look on board cam.
Absolutely. It's a very tough circuit around here for a car like this. Look how long the straight is in this sort of car. Obviously, it's nothing like the Formula 1 cars that come around here nowadays. Coming in towards turn 1, Tarzan, you can definitely go around the outside there, as you said, Lewis, but then you have to be careful because then you get the run. It might be side by side into this very tricky, fast kink. You really want to open it up, but then do you go high? Do you go low? It looks like he's going to use the high line, try and hold the speed on that outside. Then as you come up the hill, this is the important part. Have you got the exit nailed? Get your gear shifts right, because every thousandth of a second even is going to count as you come up towards the hill, using all of the curb there. Then open up this corner in towards Skyvac. You got to hold it tight down to the inside, but then back on the power as soon as you can. But the curb comes at you very fast. A little kink to the left to open up this really fast right-handed. You may see someone dive down the inside there, but probably not, because it opens up this very important hairpin. It's a bit tighter than it looks, but it's also quite wide. You can really use this run on the exit, and then you come onto the opening of the back straight. There will definitely be some sends down the inside here. It opens up, becomes really wide, especially for these small Formula cars. And then you have this back straight, of course, no DRS, anything like that. In this style of car, it's all slipstream down in towards this stadium chicane sequence of corners. You have to hit the right, then open up the left, really long apex corner before you work yourself in towards effectively the final corner. Again, this is a very fast one. You've got to be very committed. Use all of the curb on the exit, as we saw in practice. He nails that inside apex very nicely. He uses all the curb on the exit. This should be a nice one, but Lewis, it's a really long run to the line. I wonder if we see in the race some slipstream effect.
Oh, I think we will. Out through Ari Lyndike then and up towards the line. Crofton Woodhatch, next one to cross the line. will he pit Hans Jakob Siversen-Moller as he'll cross the line and goes to second position. So just a tenth and a bit behind. Thanks, Cam, for chatting through that. Proof that you can commentate on a lap no matter where you are in the world. Cam's on his travels and such as he's moving around. So just still determined to join us for this broadcast, though, Cam. Can't get rid of you.
Yeah, there's a reason for no webcams in the intro, though. It's not looking good. But we'll gloss over that one because hopefully the racing is a little bit more important. But very interesting to see, Lewis. Despite the track being so much longer, look how close the lap times remain.
Yeah, indeed. It is very, very tight. And again, this is going to make for some cracking racing. Do remember, of course, that they're all starting on cold tyres. As much as they've got 3 laps, you'll actually want to do all 3 laps in one consecutive stint. There's no requirement of like, oh, well, no, pit and get some fresh tyres on. You'll want to do it in one go. Jonathan Smith then up to 11th position. That'll probably be a little bit disappointing, but to start the session, fair play. Actually had a really good race 2 back in Brands Indy, did Smith, to really hang on almost. Yeah, was in contention for the victory, despite starting from was the reverse grid pole, wasn't it? And kept himself well involved. This is Brandon Loudon, who I did see in practice having a little bit of a battle with Hans Jakob Siversen-Moller. So the two might want to join themselves on the grid as well.
Yeah, hopefully. I guess that second off the pace isn't his actual speed, because we know generally in this field he's a bit higher up than that 15th place. Of course, he goes to 4th, but then it's dropped down to 5th as Joyner goes up 9,000 thousandths off Moller at the front. That is very close for your front row with 0.3 to the second.
Yeah, very, very tight in the front positions, which is what we like to hear, what we like to see. And again, it is excellent to see. I will say you will see a certain Shoma Shintani missing from the qualifying lap times being set. The reminder for this is that Shoma Shintani has been excluded from qualifying after various incidents at round 1. That is part of how it works. If you have too many incidents in one given moment, you will receive a ban of certain description. In this case, it is a ban from qualifying, so we'll have to start the race from the back. But remember, of course, the race 2 grid order is based on the race 1 finishing results, so can work its way through.
Absolutely, and during that, Woodhatch has gone to the front, so just half a tenth covering the top 3.5 minutes remain, but pretty sure most of the drivers are finishing or coming in at least onto their 3rd of the 3 laps. Ben Smith moves himself up into 15th place, so Brandon Loudon is currently the final driver to set a lap time. What can he do as he comes across the lines? He's going to remain there in that 16th place. Looks like it is just for now. He's going to have to work on that final lap.
And as you'll know, if you've driven on iRacing, when it comes to a qualifying session where it's just you and the track, when that timer hits 0, the session ends. It won't be, oh, well, you've started your lap time, so you get to finish it. As soon as in 3 minutes' time, this session will come to a close and it will be wrapped up. Hans Jakob Siversen-Moller then up towards the line. Good enough for pole position? The answer to that question is yes. 42.987. The first driver to break under the 1 minute 43. Sondre Mullet goes up into 3rd position as well. And I will say, based on that lap time, that was the 3rd and final lap time from Hans Mullet. So we'll see if there's going to be, well, there's not going to be any improvement from him. Is there going to be an improvement from Crofton Woodhatch? Pole position a week ago. Is it going to be enough for him here today? Not quite. Misses out by less than a tenth of a second.
Yeah, should still be happy with that one. Mark Warner jumps up into 11th place. The final couple of laps coming in here. The number 8 machine in Joyner on the 2nd row as it stands. He just needs actually a 1/4 of a tenth of a second to be able to jump up a position to Moller. Needs to obviously continue his way on with 2 minutes remaining in the session, but it does look like it's going to be close once again, and close enough that everyone's going to be staying in the slipstream of each other for today's race. But I wonder, with obviously the track being longer, if they're going to have to be a little bit more punchy. They can't necessarily wait for the laps to click off like they did last time at Brands Indy.
It's kind of one of these ones where it is a longer circuit, a lot longer, and so in this we're going to see a lot of slipstreaming, a lot of battling like that. But also because it's actually for a Grand Prix circuit, it is quite a lot tighter. It's not going to be the same style of racing as to what we'll get at Silverstone in a few weeks' time. It'll be a little bit more. I'd say a little bit more elbows, a little bit more traditional, probably another way of putting it. Brandon Loudon goes up to 9th position, then Ian Joyner into the final corner.
Absolutely. Can he make an improvement with the dying seconds of the session still remaining in this very bright yellow card that he's got? Should be easy to spot as we come down in towards turn 1 in a few moments time for the first race to get underway. Long run up towards the line. I definitely think there's going to be some overtaking there in the race. If you get the run out of that final corner, doesn't improve, stays in that 4th position. And we just have Mark Fletcher, who of course is down there in 6th place currently, but he was really the most consistent as such at the previous round at Brands. Also managed to get the race win, but let's see how it goes on.
Well, it's not going to be an improvement for him because he's not on a lap, technically. He's already done his 3 allotted laps in this session, so this lap time won't count. So Mark Fletcher will cross the line, but unfortunately, like I say, it'll only be good enough for 6th position for him in this. By the way, set exactly the same lap time as Jonathan Smith as well. So 2 drivers that were battling a fair amount in the previous race, of course, in the championship, in race 2 at Brands Indy. Well, they are running up there on basically the exact same lap time and not separated by that many thousandths of a second to Sikorsky or to Oliver Stone behind and ahead. Hans Mollett then looks like it'll be pole position for him.
Absolutely very fast in the previous race. Woodhatch once again on the front row as he was in the previous round with getting that pole position. So familiar names up at the front. But if memory serves me right, they did have a crash coming towards Graham Hill Bend. So let's see if we can not do that again this time around as we get to round 2 at Zandvoort.
Yeah, we're testing Cam's memory there. Testing my memory and testing the memory of the grid as well. So Hans Jakob Sivertsen Mollett will start from pole position with Crofton Woodhatch starting alongside on the front row. Sondre Mollett puts himself into 3rd position with Ian Joyner up there into 4th. Sikorsky on debut for this season, obviously raced a bit last year, into the top 5 with Mark Fletcher, championship leader, starting from 6th position on the grid. Jonathan Smith will start from 7th position with Oliver Stone, again I think a debutant, starting from 8th position. Brandon Loudon in 9th with Lewis Werrell, 2nd in the championship, just 10th position in this race at the moment, but did work up a lot of positions after a struggling qualifying a week ago. Sam Saunders and Mark Warner round out the top 12. A few more positions have to go. Harvey Jones and Jack Badger will, unfortunately for Alpha Esports, start further down the order. Ryan Elliott and Ben Smith, with Shomi Shintani starting from the final row of the grid, with a lot of work to do for definitely a driver that we're expected to contend in this championship.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a tough race to call who is going to win. But all I do know is it's going to be a lot of slipstream down to turn 1 and then hopefully no drivers running off track later on in the lap.
Well, quickly then, who is going to win? Come on, give it to me.
Shintani from the back. Let's go for it.
No way. You don't believe that.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay, well, we'll see what the meme dream can be. Race about to get underway then. 15 minutes put onto the clock. It's Mollett on the pole position. Hans Mollett ahead of Crofton Woodhatch. Sondre Mollett starts from the 2nd row of the grid. And as we race our way down to the 1st corner, definitely a better start from the pair of the Mollets, to be perfectly honest, as Hans Mollett will lead comfortably into the 1st corner at Tarzan. Crofton Woodhatch in a little bit too deep on the brakes, but will hold it nicely towards the line. Out wide goes Hans Mollett as they're almost side by side up towards turn 2. And they work their way into the Hugenholtz box, but it is going to be Mollett leading then from Woodhatch, from the other Mollett, and still from Ian Joyner. No major switches in that top grouping down into T1.
No one diving to the inside of the banking either, so very much single file as we work our way up towards the hill, and it's just one massive train as you would expect. A little bit side by side in the background though as they try to work their way up into the very sort of tighter section of the track into a skylight, 3 wide a little bit in the background, all staying rather clean at the front though.
Oh, look at this though, out wide from Hans Mollett, and this will be the inside look as we come up towards Masters for Crofton Woodhatch. Leading alongside, there's contact between the two again, and that will be a huge crash. Ian Joyner and Sondre Mollett both involved in that. That certainly looked a bit awkward into Masters, Cam.
And once again, we see Woodhatch and Mollett making contact, this time for 1st and 2nd position on this 1st lap. And what is left is Mollett to have a 2nd lead. Fletcher from 6th place up into 2nd on this 1st lap. That's a great start from him.
Yeah, indeed, has picked apart quite nicely. Got Sikorsky directly behind. Also in tow will be Jonathan Smith. But like you're absolutely right, a large gap for our race leader. I do get the feeling that if I'm Sikorsky at this point, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to kind of allow Fletcher to try and close that 1 second gap. Let's not allow Hans Jakob Sivertsen Mollett to check out right now. If we do, then this race is basically over. Use the slipstream games. Let's not fight too hard.
Absolutely. If they let Mollett get away, they're never going to win the race. So they need to work together, and they've got all the... Let's see a replay of this actually. Up the inside, hard to see exactly... Oh, big air moment there, unfortunately for Sondre Mollett. But Hard to exactly find that angle, just how much space was given her, who was wrong. Oh, spins in the background here as well. Seeing further drivers go down.
I think that's Jonathan Smith, potentially. No, Mark Warner's dropped down. Ben Smith, it's very awkward indeed. Couple of large moments then on the opening couple of laps here. It will be Hans Jakob Stevenson-Mollett leading the way at the moment by 9/10 of a second over Mark Fletcher. Sikorsky then in third position with Jonathan Smith, Oliver Stone, Lewis Werrell, Brandon Loudon, Sam Saunders, Ryan Elliott and Harvey Jones rounding out the top 10. Some big gaps and all that as Sondre Mollett does get their way up into 10th position. We'll say Crofton Woodhatch did return to pit lane after that incident.
And remember, the reverse grid for race 2 is a random between 5 and 10, so that could be important for him. Warner, just loses it himself and unfortunately takes out 2 other cars, and Shintani was somewhere on the inside. He was getting involved as well, so maybe 4 cars are all affected just by that small spin.
Jonathan Smith then looking to the inside here for third position. Got Sikorsky around the outside as they go through turn 10 and got one completely off the road in the background. That's not a good sign, as they will also head side by side down into sort of like the, was it Hans Ernst box? As they work their way into the stadium arena section and they all find their way into single file. I will say, look at the gaps. Race leader has been caught. So Mollett is there. Here's Show Machine Tiny looking at the inside. Was also just too deep into the corner as well.
Yeah, maybe just struggling a bit with the brake balance on that car. Both of those drivers diving in a bit too deep, putting too much pressure on the front of that car. We've got a bit of a swap towards the front though. Mollett is being called down by Fletcher, but in the background Smith is going to the inside of Sikorsky to get himself up onto the podium in that green car on the inside line, but round the outside Sikorsky should have a good run. A bit of banking here in turn number 1, but it looks like Smith is going to be able to get that position. Yeah,
they're going to work their way up though towards turn 2. It will be the inside line for Smith. Now we head into the big banking as we go through turn 3, depart that corner. Sikorsky, again, this is the fighting between the pair of them has allowed the top 2 to clear away by 0.2 of a second. I think they might even at this early stage, rule their way out of victory. Sikorsky's all over the rear end of Jonathan Smith as we head up towards Sky Black. And look at that move to the inside as well, coming in from Lewis Werrell.
And this just shows you how battling kind of slows you down. We've got a 5-6 car battle pack now for what is currently third position, held by, of course, Smith, who's just made that up. But look at all the cars in behind trying to take that position of Sikorsky as well. And he dives to the inside at the hairpin. No, not quite enough. But this is such a cool flowing section of the track. We've seen Mollett actually having a defensive line further up. So it's definitely that moment of the race where drivers are seeing positions being made as the other Mollett, Sondre, he's dropping back down after contact on the first lap too.
I think he's back in the pit lane to Sondre Mollett and Crofton Woodhatch, both then into the pit lane, basically retiring from the opening race of the evening. They will have another 15 minutes though to do battle around the dunes here again, the first international race in this championship history. Warner's also having a couple of problems as Ian Joyner's got through then for 13th position. We're riding on board with the 22 of Stone. You can see Werrell up ahead, you can see Sikorsky, you can see Smith as well as we head through Ari Lyndike and back onto the start-finish straight.
Is there going to be some moves? Definitely some wiggles left and right. Drivers trying to find themselves some room. Smith is going to have big 3 wide we go. Big trouble for Smith here to hold on to this position. Down the inside it is going to be for Werrell. 2 places made. Can he keep it on the exit? Going to squeeze wide, but contact is made. We're still 3-1 coming up to turn 2.
This is not going to work. Sikorsky might need to back out. This one does indeed back out. Chucks it into turn 3. Turn 2 does Lewis Werrell and will confirm that position. Whilst we were riding on board with Stone, Sam Sanders has come through to take over 6th position. But of course, Ollie Stone on the outside going through turn 3. Hugenholz was able to retake over that position. Werrell's feeling the pressure though. This is the kind of battle we were expecting for the race lead. But those two have checked out, and Hans Jakob Stevenson-Mollett is kind of having a bit of a cruise at the moment. There's a big crash and out into the grass goes Sikorsky.
Yeah, big dive down the inside there. He went a little bit too deep though, got front to rear contact, and he was spun out to the left-hand side of the track. But I would potentially say from the angle we saw, it was him going in a bit too deep into a very fast corner, and that has really just completely ruined his race after looking good for a potential podium here today. So what is left is Werrell's in 3rd, Stone having a nice clean race there, is in 4th place. Then we've got Sanders and now Smith, who's dropped back further in his pack.
And Jordan has just got past Sikorsky as well for 12th position. Do remember that those two definitely have the pace to be in the top 5 in this top group. Obviously, Sikorsky was just in it, and Jordan was in it in the early stages of this race. Here's a little bit of a look. So you've got Sikorsky down the inside. Like you say, just It's kind of one of those ones, like in a little bit deep, kind of comes up a little bit, but it's nothing major, and just it's that light contact, just tough racing between themselves and Jonathan Smith. As here we might have a switch for the race lead. So Mark Fletcher's got to the inside of Hans-Jakob Siversen-Moller, and it will be the championship leader then in the 111 car retaking over the race lead. Is he going to be able to do so? Looks down the inside at the first turn. I don't think he's going to be able to clear it here because the outside line might be good enough coming up towards turn 2.
Yes, is looking very good. How much does he want to risk? He's got his nose ahead, but Fletcher's going to keep it in there. He's going to give himself the space. High versus the low line. This is exactly why they redesigned this corner. Fletcher goes round the outside and takes the lead. And in the background, Stone has got up to third, past Werrell into turn 1.
Yeah, those lot are all switching around quite a lot. I mean, look at them. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all separated by a second. Jack Badger having a large moment as well. I'm dropping down to 12th position. I think he's been off the road as well. Sikorsky's come into the pit lane. Badger still drops down the order even further. So there is certainly some large dramas back there, and you get the feeling that the... well, that list of drivers that have had issues in this race might be joined by one of this group based on what we're seeing between them. Tough battling, but it's excellent racing to watch.
Yeah, you're very right. I don't think this one is over just yet when you've got 5 cars battling for that podium place. And actually, it might end up being reverse grid pole, depending on how they finish in this order as well. So that's going to be some very important positions indeed. But of course, it's a bit of a random number for that reverse grid. So that's something that we'll have to leave for later on. But Stone has got himself up into third. And now can he handle the pressure? Of course, Lewis Werrell has a strong, strong race back at Brands Indy, so he's feeling confident in this series, and once more he's looking up the front.
Well, you've got to remember, right, if you finish in 5th place, let's speak of the reverse grid, you finish in 5th place, sure, you're gaining extra points for finishing in 6th, but you're also guaranteeing you will be in the reverse grid. Whereas if you finish in 6th, 7th, 8th, whilst there's a high likelihood that you will be, because you're fairly high up in that, there's no guarantee that you'll be reversed. As switch for the race lead again sees Mollett get past Fletcher, and the switch for 3rd position will see Lewis Werrell, the driver that currently sits 2nd in the championship, up to 3rd.
Yeah, they're just swapping very easily this time around compared to Brands Indy. So interesting that they are letting that happen and they're not doing any sort of bump drafting or anything like that. They are trying to get that track position. We're now into the final 6 minutes of this first race of the evening, and they now need to try to continue on these battles. 2-second lead for the top 2 though, so I think they're comfortable in that regard, and that is why they're battling so willingly.
4 laps left to go, it should be, from this point, as I think Crofton Woodhatch is back out in the race. I mean, to be fair, if you're dropping down there, I would 100% say get back out on the track. Yes, it's a tedious 10 minutes potentially, or longer even, but scoring points here, it's critical. It's still important because you just never really know about drop rounds, like that stuff. You just don't know what you're going to be losing out. 45 points for a victory, a drop off of 6 points behind that, a drop off of 5 points behind that, a drop off of 4 points behind that. And then I think there's a few positions where it's dropping off only 3 points. There's also bonuses for fastest lap. A lot of drivers will be scoring points in this. So if you've got a goose egg next to your name after a race, you're losing potential results.
Absolutely, and even though we still have 16 races in this total championship, 8 rounds, 2 races every round, there's a lot, things happen quickly, and before you know it, you will be falling back. So you've got to be scoring decent points every single race, and then you will have a shout when we get to the final couple of rounds of the season. Once again, is there going to be some swaps in these positions? Werrell goes to the inside. Looks like Stone though back to 3rd.
As we ride on board with Brandon Loudon as well, going to throw himself into the mix, looking down the inside of Sam Sanders, going down into the first corner. Ryan Elliott's also had a bit of a problem. I think he might have gone a little bit wide. It might just be connection. Lewis Werrell's come straight back through on the inside of Oliver Stone as they're side by side of ahead. Saunders has come through. Here comes a look from Brandon Loudon, taking just a touch to the inside, trying to get past Ollie Stone as well. Cam, put yourself in the position of Brandon Loudon here. What do you do in this fight? Do you sit back and just kind of let them battle it out and maybe try and pounce late on in the race, or are you really getting involved?
With how clean the racing's been so far, I don't know if you can wait for a crash. I do think you have to start moving up. The issue is there's 3 drivers all squabbling. So Stone there thought he was going to be in 3rd place. Now he's down into 5th. Just went a bit too wide in turn number 1. So it's very easy, but you have to just time your positions, your overtaking correctly. Because if you go too soon, then you just get involved in the squabbles yourself. So hopefully Loudon can wait for the right time. I don't know what that is though, because it depends exactly how the cars ahead start battling. Now as we work away out on towards this back straight, they're looking fairly okay. We have dropped, of course, Jonathan Smith by a couple of seconds off the back of this group.
it's kind of like has that kind of aura of something like, you know, Daytona 500, right? Where if you're in like the front 2 or 3, right, with 10 laps left to go, all that's going through my head is this actually isn't that good. I'm now thinking, I'm like, well, the likelihood is like quite a lot. I'm about to get freight trained, and then I won't have the time to come past. It's almost a little bit of that with this group as well, as we start the penultimate lap of the race. Like you say, timing your move right and being in the right position at the right time. I'm okay with where Brandon Loudon is now. I would not want to be in 6th place at the end of this lap, though. So I think now is the time to really start going for the moves.
Oh, definitely a couple of laps remaining as we see it move to the inside. Avoided contact, though, as Werrell takes that 3rd place. And Sanders, of course, in 4th. These positions change very quickly, and let's see how this one continues on up towards the banking. Looks like he should be able to hold that. No one choosing to dive down the inside. This high line is so powerful now with that banking.
Yeah, indeed. You can't really afford to go low. I remember back in the GB3 Championship last year, Callum Voice, I think it was, he was taking an exceptionally high line around there. Those are in very fast Formula cars. These have no downforce. I think you'll see that a little bit in British F4 Esports a little bit later on this evening. You'll see some drivers take a really high line through there, because you're at the point where you can almost do that corner flat if you take it out. It's not, obviously not, but you know what I mean. Like, yeah, you can carry so much more speed on the high side there, and you've got quite a long run after it up towards Sky Black where you are using it. Here comes a look to the inside then. Show Shintani trying to make the move. Ryan Elliott on the outside as they head their way through the likes of 9 up towards 10. Now let's see the outside line come in from Shona Shintani. The big defensive line coming in from Ryan Elliott, who is a touring car expert, so he definitely knows a thing or two about keeping a driver behind him.
Absolutely, and this could be important, including obviously Jones in the background, because this might be reverse grid pole. So this could be so important for them and for their day, especially for Shintani, who started at the back of the grid. But actually, to be fair, Ryan Elliott was on the penultimate row as well. Both of them having the best qualifying sessions, with Shintani with his penalty, and Elliott just not getting that speed he would have wanted after getting up inside the top 5, top 6 back at Brands Indy. But up towards the front, looks like they're continuing their battle.
Final lap of the race then. Let's see what's going to happen. Is Mark Fletcher coming through now? Looks to the outside coming into turn 1. Did not follow the slipstream of Hans-Jakob Siversen-Mollett, so we'll hang on to 2nd position for now. Lewis Werrell, though, up. There's been a spin in the background. Sam Sanders, I think, has gone round. Maybe there was definitely a slide of some description. Somehow they've all come through and all that, as Harvey Jones and Ryan Elliott fight a little bit further back from all this. Lewis Werrell will lead in this group. Sam Sanders is on the low side, so watch the speed coming off the corner from Ollie Stone, who might even be able to have a look down into Sky Black.
Yeah, that, I mean, look at that. It's 2-3 car lengths he's got. Look at all this momentum up the inside of Lewis Werrell. They'll turn to the outside. He's got to be careful here. We saw contact as Werrell bounces it over the curbs. It's enough to keep onto that position. Of course, remember, Loudon is right in behind them as well as they come up towards this very tricky middle sector of the lap. This is where they need to try and make some moves, because there aren't too many opportunities left.
Harvey Jones has dropped back now outside of the top 10, so outside of the potential reverse grid positions. I think there's been a spin and a contact with Ryan Elliott as well, who's dropping second to those in that group as well. Ian Joyner's come through into 9th. Hans-Jakob Siversen-Mollett then has the position for now. Confirmation that we're on the final lap of the race. Here comes a look to the inside. Mark Werrell's not going to do it, though. Mark Fletcher. Mark Werrell's he's a commentator, it's fine. As they now head their way into the Hans Ernst box. Off the corner then, is there going to be a power to the final corner? Fletcher's really patient back at Brands Indy, and I think he's being patient again. Maybe, you know, the slipstream's going to be enough to drag him alongside as they come down onto the start-finish line. Out wide, they now drop down into the banking as they head through the 14th and final corner at Ari Lyondike. It's going to be a drag race between the two of them. Hans-Jakob Siversen-Mollett has the position at the moment as they come up towards the line. It seems as though Mark Fletcher has the advantage. They cross the stripe. What's the gap? 0.02 of a second as Mark Fletcher takes his 2nd victory of the season.
Timed to perfection. He didn't send it in towards the chicane. He waited for that slipstream. I had that feeling as we saw it in qualifying and in practice. Such a long run towards the line. And Mark Fletcher, he's being Mr. Consistent, 1st, 2nd, 1st as he continues his run at the front. Mollett, I think, will be a bit disappointed with that, but still a strong race for him after a disappointing Brands.
It's 2,000ths on our timing sheet here. I've just checked in game. It's 1,000, so obviously it's very close between the pair of them, but that is ridiculously tight. Just 1,000th of a second, or a couple of thousandths of a second either way, separating 1st and 2nd. Great battle between the pair. Brandon Loudon over to congratulate our race winner by the barest of margins. Ollie Stone as well and all that did take over 2nd position. 3rd position, I know what I meant.
Yeah, a great race from him as well, who's up towards the front, who's in that group, and he managed it really well. Of course, you had the likes of Whirl in there, who were really sort of going for it, but Stone even dropped back into 5th place at one point, but then was able to get those positions. So he's potentially one to look out for as he work our way in towards race 2. But that was certainly a successful race 1 here at Zandvoort, and I think it's going to be interesting to hear what the drivers think of this track and how we battled there.
Before we do that, though, let's take a look at the reverse grid. We bring out the spinny wheel to see who's going to be starting from reverse grid pole. It was 9 last time, if I remember correctly. What is it going to be this time? There goes 9, there's 6. Oh, it couldn't be 10, could it? It couldn't be 10, could it? Oh, Cameron Roger. It's a top 10 reverse grid. We're getting the full Monty in this one, and the entirety of the top 10 will be reversed. That'll be horrible news for Mark Fletcher for the 2nd consecutive week. Sorry about that, bud, but we'll chat with him in a little bit, of course. We'll take a look at the finishing results. 2,000 seconds separating 1st and 2nd. Mark Fletcher grabbing the victory, so we'll be starting the next race from 10th place. Hans-Jakob Siversen Molat defeated by 2,000 seconds. We'll catch up with him in a moment, and Ollie Stone rounding out the podium, we'll also have a conversation with in just a sec. Lewis Werrell up to 4th position after a poor qualifying once more. Sam Sanders into 5th. Brandon Loudon in 6th position with Jonathan Smith. Shomi Shintani up for the rear of the grid to 8th position. Could be the favourite, by the way, for the reverse grid victory. Same with Ian Joyner, who had some great pace in all of that, working his way back up after an issue early on. Ryan Elliott will be starting from the reverse grid pole. The final few positions, these ones won't be reversed to any degree. Ben Smith, Harvey Jones, Crofton, Woodhatch finishing a couple of laps down, but still scoring some important points despite the early drama. Jack Badger back there as well with Sikorsky. Then we've got Warner and Sondre Muller, who started from 3rd position of the race and unfortunately had that issue down at Tarzan, didn't he?
Absolutely. That was a very entertaining race, though, and I can't wait to see how we're going to go. Obviously, when we get to the F4s later, but Formula Ford Race 2 coming up after this.
Yes, indeed. And so, once again, we're joined by Mark Fletcher. He's kind of doing what Henry Moore did last year, of just constantly jumping in to have a little chat with us. Didn't qualify so well, raced quite well there. That was very impressive.
Yeah, I've never been, ask any of the people that have ever raced me, I've never been any good at qualifying. I can never get the lap together. But yeah, race was pretty good. Obviously a bit of unfortunate between Crofton and Hans, but yeah, luckily I was far enough back that didn't affect me.
Now, before we move on to some more positive, I've got 2nd consecutive week. I've got some bad news for you, mate. Sorry. The reverse grid number, it's 10. It couldn't be any worse. But this is quite a wide open circuit. Surely this is one where you don't mind a top 10 reverse grid.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it from 6th in the first race, so yeah, another 4 places. I say shouldn't be a problem. It's all about setting the moves up early here, and yeah, you know, just working as a team. So hopefully there ain't going to be some of the really quick boys. Is that Ryan's on pole? So yeah, he's pretty quick, and so is Ian, going from last week. And Shoma's in 8th. So yeah, he'll be 3rd. So yeah, definitely one to watch out for there.
Now, speaking of setting up moves, obviously let's talk about the race to the line. Just a thousandth or two of a second. Very, very tight indeed. You were very patient behind Hans throughout that race. Was it always the plan that, you know, coming out of the penultimate corner out of Iron Dyke, that you were going to go for a move then?
Honestly, yes. From about sort of when I got up behind him and I could see how much you sort of gained, I went past him and I thought, I can't pull away without wrecking the tyres. So I kind of realised I needed to be about 0.2 behind him coming out the last corner. And then, yeah, literally just set it up from the chicane and just hoped that I'd get there. And yeah, luckily my little Formula Ford did.
Well, we'll probably be catching up with you quite a few times this season, maybe even in not very long indeed. Mark, thank you so much. Congratulations on another victory.
Perfect. Cheers, Lewis. See you soon.
There we go. See you soon. He's confident. Mark Fletcher there will beat him out of the comedy booth, and we'll bring in Hans-Jakob Siversen Molat as well, who finished in 2nd position and all that. But let's talk about that then. What's the initial feelings? What's the initial thoughts after finishing in 2nd place by probably about the smallest margin that is humanly possible?
Well, I'm pretty okay with it. I was unfortunate with Crofton in the start. I checked and it was a net code. Could have maybe given him a little bit more room, but yeah, that's unfortunate. But Yeah, I'm happy to finally have a podium. I felt like pace and brands was pretty good, but yeah, spinning out wasn't ideal. So yeah, this was a nice comeback.
Yeah, let's talk about brands for a second. 'Cause obviously, we didn't chat to you at all there because as much as you had some great pace around there, the race results didn't really go your way. How do you kind of leave that aside and refocus for this round? Is that quite tough, or was that fairly easy for you to just kind of go, look, the next round, let's just jump in?
I crashed out, been crashed out, and spun out in so many races right now, so it's pretty easy to reset. But of course, I wanted to keep it clean. Of course, give more room and yeah, don't be like together crashing with people. But yeah, that's I just put in a shitload of laps, to be honest, like 400 laps or something this weekend.
Is it difficult? Is it a difficult circuit in this car? Considering you've done so much practice for it, is it kind of one of those ones where it's hard to find how the cars navigate? Because obviously it's not really a typical circuit that this car races on.
A few of the corners were pretty tricky for me, and I didn't really find the line at once, but I just kept gaining time until maybe lap 200 or something, and it kind of stagnated, but I just kept going to try to be more consistent. So yeah, that was my plan. And now we have 2 weeks for next race, I guess. That's fun.
Indeed. Well, you've not got too long until the next race directly around here comes up. You'll be starting from 9th position. What do you think you'll get from there?
We'll see. There's a lot of quick guys and a lot can happen. So I'll just try to take one person at a time and see where I end up. Well,
best of luck.
Thank you.
There we go. Of course, Hans Jakob Siversen, the driver to finish in second position in that race, Cam, by a very, very small margin. He said, yeah, it is what it is. Still, I think as soon as you cross the line, you see that it's your name in second place. The disappointment, it's got to flood over you a little bit, surely.
Yeah, especially when you're just sat there flat out looking, waiting for the line to come, and all you can see is your competitor coming past you. Definitely not the nicest of situations to be in, but congratulations to Mark Fletcher. He timed that to the absolute perfection, and I think Mollett, he realistically couldn't have done too much else, because what's he supposed to do? Brake check down the back straight and let Mark get ahead and try and do the same? I don't think realistically you're going to do that. So once you're in that position coming onto the final lap, you just have to run with it, get the best exit you can out of that final corner. But unfortunately that time there wasn't enough.
No, indeed. But that's just how it goes. I mean, look, taking a look at some of this view that Fletcher had around the circuit, obviously was really keeping the pressure high all the way up. Maybe even trying to force a mistake, looking down in the mirrors, going into sky black and the lights. Just basically trying to hunt for any way through, but there just wasn't really the opportunities.
No, he was doing a great job to put pressure, because remember, when he's this close, Mollett's mirror is basically filled with that with his car. So it's a lot going on. You see Mollett already taking some defensive lines as well. That doesn't really help him, actually, because then Fletcher gains just those extra few centimeters, getting him even closer in that 111 machine, coming down this back straight, looking to the inside. It's just making Mollett a little bit unsure coming into the corner, although to be fair, he was still doing a good job to nail these apexes, but it's really the final corner where it all matters on this track, it seems.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously this, looking at the entirety of the last lap, you can kind of see that pressure, and let's see really how close it was. So a little bit wide, to be fair, out of the penultimate corner, but you don't want to be too close going through the final one at Ari Leinduck. You want to have that room to work into the slipstream. And like I say, the tight line was taken by Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett, and boom, there it is, across the line. That's all it is. That is what 1,000th or 2,000 seconds looks like to the naked eye. It is almost unnoticeable.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Cars, with all three of them going across the line, or even back in NASCAR earlier this year. Was it at Atlanta? Crazy scenes to see. Don't always get it on the road course stuff though, but great when you do. And yeah, I mean, it's literally centimeters. Even with the speed of these cars, it is quite remarkable. And you could see there just how important that slipstream is, because it's a long run to the line, but it's still probably about half of the straight. So there's still a lot more to go by the time we get to turn 1, and I think that's why, Lewis, we saw a lot of the overtakes down there into turn 1, just because you have that slipstream. It's a lot less risky compared to trying to overtake in one of the corners in the middle sector.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, if you are just jumping into the broadcast thinking, where's my British Formula 4 Esports Championship, is coming up after the second race here of the Formula 4s. We'll get qualifying underway for the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, the second round of racing. Then we'll jump into 2 races for those, and then we're all wrapped up. I'm sure it's going to be very, very exciting. Again, the thoughts and prospects of coming to Circuit Zandvoort. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest. I've been here twice, and I am not the largest fan of Circuit Zandvoort generally, as a few people have heard my opinions on a fair few times. But it does race really well, really, really well in these junior Formula cars.
Oh, it certainly does. It's as you say, it's a Grand Prix track, but it's a bit smaller than that. So it's a good crossover where we still can host the likes of Formula 1 here. Obviously, the likes of GT racing coming here, but then we can have the smaller stuff like this, like the Club Series races. It's actually quite a great venue in that regard. So it's a great one to have on the calendar, and obviously it's great for the likes of the British Formula 4 Championship to go across the water, because it's actually not too far away geographically. So get to have some experience of some different tracks for those younger drivers in that championship, and hopefully progress there and race further there in the future. But I just think it's a great decision, to be honest, not just to stay completely at the British tracks.
Yeah, I like it. I've always said we had British F4 going to Zandvoort. It was an odd decision, but it was a solid one. It's always fun to go and race abroad whenever you can, and as much as there's the whole thing of it's the British F4 championship. Well, I mean, how many times has British GT been to Spa? So it's fine. I'll keep my neck out of the British Championships going to random European circuits chat though, because there's a little bit more at stake on that end. But like I say, you can't really complain about them racing. I think the F4s around here are going to be absolutely wicked. I think it's going to be a quality race. It's going to be a very different style of race, because you've got to remember, this is what Graham Carroll said in the interview. If you didn't join us after the last round, after race 2 of British F4, and it does apply to the Formula 4s as well. How this championship races at Brands Indy, and how this championship's going to race on all of the other circuits on the calendar. Brands Indy is the oddity, not Zandvoort.
Oh, definitely. Brands Indy is a ridiculous track. It's awesome though on the calendar, but it's ridiculous, really, if you actually think about it. So it might be in him as well saying the championship kind of starts today, in terms of how the tracks are going to work. So it is good that we have that, that sort of flow of the tracks and how it works in that regard. Although the points are already on the table from Brands Indy, so as much as maybe mentally some of the drivers are going to be thinking that today's a start, if they had a bad race a couple of weeks ago, or last week even, at Brands Indy, then unfortunately they are going to be carrying those issues, and they need to make those points back, and they've got the couple of races this evening to do that.
Exactly. Well, you can see in the top left with 35 seconds to jumping into the second race of the evening, and the dramas of the first race leave Ryan Elliott on the reverse grid pole, and Martin Fletcher's down into the full reverse grid. It just had to be, didn't it, around here?
I mean, I love it, because as much as 5, it kind of does make sense to keep the top guys at the top. It's always a little bit disappointing, because you want some carnage in the reverse grid race. Let's be honest. You want to see some drivers such as Ryan Elliott, such as Shintani, who started on the back row of the grid, and they now have the opportunity to win that second race and just, take things a little bit away from the norm. Yeah, indeed. Cameron Roger asking for carnage. What an awful human being. Lightly. That's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. I think what you're looking for is not carnage, it's excitement and entertainment. Yes, that is true. And hopefully we're getting a lot of action here as the second race in the Formula 4 is about to get underway. Then we take a good view over Circuit Zandvoort, and we prepare ourselves for 15 minutes of racing. This is Ryan Elliott on pole position alongside Ian Joyner. Joyner or Shoma Shintani, arguably some of the favourites for this race. Jonathan Smith worked up a decent amount of positions in the previous race to finish up in 6th, so obviously reversed into 4th. Brandon Loudon and Sam Saunders will start from 5th and 6th position. Lewis Werrell, second in the championship, will start from 7th. Oliver Stone in 8th.
Hans-Jakob Siversen Mollett defeated by 2,000 of a second over Mark Fletcher. They'll start from 9th and 10th, with Ben Smith and Harvey Jones starting from the 6th row of the grid. Crofton Woodhatch leads Jack Badger, obviously the first of those that had issues in the race. Badger, Sikorsky, Warner and Sondre Mollett starting from the final row of the grid. You picked Shintani last time. I don't know who it's going to be this time. I just know that we're going to get some excitement. The green flag is about to be waved, and we will get this race underway with Ryan Elliott starting from the pole position. It's a better start, though, I think, from Shintani on the outside. Although, look at that translation on the start coming in from Ian Joyner to drag it alongside. It was a great reaction coming in from Ryan Elliott, but already down to the first turn at Tarzan, Ian Joyner's got alongside of Ryan Elliott, who holds firm around the outside in the 66, and it will still be Ryan Elliott leading. Look at that, though. Straight around the outside is Brandon Loudon trying to make it stick. He's going to run right wide at T2.
He couldn't make it work. That was always going to be a double overtake. He might lose another position now to Lewis Wells. Actually, instead of gaining 2, he's lost 3. That's just how it goes sometimes. And all contact already a bit further back on the exit of turn 3. We'll get to that a little bit later because the battles continue their way up the hill. We've got these battle packs, sort of 3-4 cars at a time, working themselves up to Sky Black. Yeah, indeed.
Hans-Jakob Siversen Mollett on the outside of Mark Fletcher, trying to drag his way back into it, but jumps in behind the driver who he beat in the previous race. Knows that timing this move is critical. Oh, a bit of a lag moment there for Ryan Elliott, and might have distracted just a little bit Ian Joyner, who's sat behind side by side with Lewis Werrell, trying to get past Sam Sanders, as well as Fletcher finally makes a move on Hans-Jakob Siversen Mollett as we lose them behind the grandstand.
And Shintani was trying to make a double move. Are we going to get almost 4 wide, coming down the back straight in towards the chicane? Who is going to be leading this one? Ryan Elliott on that outside line. Then Shintani is going to try and follow him through, get the inside line for Joyner. He might have that, just about have that one stuck, but no, Joyner is very strong. Almost contact made, but he keeps it going.
So unfortunately, Sikorsky and Smith having a bit of a problem there as they head their way through the Hans Ernst box. So a bit of issues as they go through 11 and 12. Now they head into the final corner at Ari Lyndike, and we head down towards Tarzan, and this could chop and change an awful lot. 1 lap complete then. It's Ryan Elliott leading from Joyner, from Shintani, from Smith, from Werrell as well. Here comes Joyner, looking to the outside, almost 3 wide and all this. Big look to the inside from Shoma Shintani as he sends it in, and somehow and all that, Ryan Elliott disappears. Still hangs on to the race lead, though, as they depart the corner. Joyner, though, with the outside line as they head up towards turn 2. Will Ryan Elliott leave the throttle a little bit more open? The answer to that question is obviously not, as he sends it straight around the outside. Bit of contact there, and a big bit of contact. Joyner's round. Shintani involved as well.
Everyone, everyone managed to avoid him, but unfortunately they did not. And in the background, further people, is that Mark Fletcher maybe actually involved in that one? That's not great for him. And your championship leader is actually Harvey Jones, I should say. But all change up towards the front here as a contact was made. Shintani and of course Joyner very unlucky there, got pushed around by Elliott, and in the end that front and rear wheel contact spun another car, as we've seen multiple times already this season.
You are right, though. There has been drama for our championship leader, 3-time podium sitter. Mark Fletcher's down the road. I think Brandon Loudon's also gone off as they head down towards turn 9, and so Brandon Loudon's gone straight on. I thought that almost might have been Hans-Jakob Siversen Mollett, but alas, 'twas not. They too have very similar liveries, but it was Brandon Loudon who went straight on. Here comes a look to the inside then, Jonathan Smith. It'll be the outside as they go into turn 11 on Lewis Werrell, who's got the inside line. Werrell's, not a bad shout for a victory here.
Yeah, and when we talk about drives being consistent, it was Mark Fletcher in the first 3 races of the season, now into the 4th race, and Werrell is looking to continue on that run that he's been going up inside basically the top 5, although that is very wide. I say that, so the top 2 are going to get away a little bit, and Jonathan Smith is going to be looking very good. So that was Sondre Mollett. He was the one having that contact earlier on, and unfortunately, just dropping down already on that first lap.
Yep, indeed, and there is Ben Smith going for a spin right ahead of Sikorsky, who had to come to a complete stop. Almost joined in that, as you'll see in the bottom right, the battle for 3rd position and for the race lead between Shoma Shintani and Ryan Elliott. More replays to go through, though. Yeesh, that was the moment for Fletcher.
And that could have been a lot worse in terms of bad contact being made. Round the outside, we're looking. Oh, sorry, that's the replay of Joyner. And that was, of course, Elliott on the outside initially, then Shintani just furthering the contact. And then unfortunate contacts further in behind. It was Jones trying to go hard left, just not enough space.
Not enough space, and not early enough on the turning of left. As here's the other issue for Fletcher. This car clearly is not looking great, and I think might return it to the pit lane. Pulls off to one side, and I believe will retire from the race. The championship leader then, it's been 3 quality races, but as we had from Henry Moore last season, you can't finish every race on the podium. Henry Moore only managed 15 of 16, so he will miss a conversation with me after the race. At least there is that. Shomi Shintani then second position, right behind Ryan Elliott at the moment, almost 5 minutes down in this race, and Ryan Elliott's been doing well to hang on. From Shintani, from Werrell, from Smith, from Sanders, from Stone, from Mollett, from Woodhatch, Badger and Loud in the top 10, but there could be the move coming in from Shomi Shintani now. To the inside as we head to the Hans Ernst block, it will be Shomi Shintani, race winner a week ago, taking over the race lead.
Yeah, he's gone from last to first, thanks to obviously the reverse grid getting him up towards the front. Bit of contact with Joyner hasn't stopped him. He's going to be going out the front, trying to get his second race 2 victory of the season. Let's see if he can continue that though, because look at all the drivers in behind. It's basically the top 8, top 9 in this front battle pack, and Ryan Elliott already coming back towards the front, and then Lewis Werrell to the inside. Though that's blocked off by the Japanese driver, but Elliott surely will have to.
Oh, there's been big contact from Shomi Shintani's been sent to the barrier. Lewis Werrell's in a little bit too deep. Ryan Elliott will retake over this one. There's definite contact there. I think there's a bump draft attempt that sent Shomi Shintani out into the barrier. Still somehow hangs on to 3rd position and all that as we drop back to Jonathan Smith, who's had major dramas and all that. On board with Shomi Shintani to the outside at turn 3. He's got a good run off the corner, could drag himself past Sanders.
Yeah, that was really a big shame for Shintani. He had a good run there towards turn 1, which, as you say, contact was made. He was put into the wall as we come up the hill now. Still in this 3rd place currently. Sanders has got the inside line all over the grass as we come into the braking zone. Ryan Elliott now has the lead. Werrell, who I thought might get up into 1st at one point, he's now down into 4th place. So it's all change, and you have to really be on your toes in this series as every lap things are moving around.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, look, you can see the 6 drivers, 1st through 6th, running within, well, basically it was within 1 second as they got into the braking zone at T9. So very tight indeed. The outside line and they're heading towards the apex from Lewis Werrell, so not too worried about Ollie Stone directly behind him, but yeah, 9-10 separating the top 5. It's going to be very tight indeed. So this is where the move came in a lap ago from Shomi Shintani to the inside of Ryan Elliott, who still holds firm. This is definitely more than the magic number of 6, Cam. We say always in these battles, 6 is the magic number. You have more than 6 drivers. That's where the crash comes. 6, though, you can kind of get away with it. This is 8 for the race lead.
Yeah, insane just how close they are able to stay to each other and not cause really too many big issues so far in this race. But of course it was Shintani who's in the wall there, and let's see what is going to happen, because it's going to be Sanders going to the inside. Shintani's going to be coming through at some point as well. It might be 3 wide in towards the braking zone. Yes, it is up the inside line. It is going to be, can he get both of them at the same time? He can, but Elliott might have that 2nd place on the outside too.
Yeah, but look at Shintani going straight to the outside, so Ryan Elliott's going to drop in behind, and he's boxed in a little bit here as Sanders is to the inside. They head their way through turn 2, and to be fair, for the 34, this could be advantageous if he chucks it in, but no, good hold from Ryan Elliott. Shomi Shintani then up to the race lead. Back again, I thought he was out of the race, I'm not going to lie, he hit the wall that hard from the start, finish straight. Shintani from Elliott, from Sanders, from Werrell, from Mollett, the top 5.
And it's movement in the background, so Woodhatch has got past Stone. Mollett, I think, also got past Stone in the first couple of corners as well. They stay side by side in towards the very far sky of that corner. There's Woodhatch on the outside in that white car. Can he complete the move up in towards the next very fast right-hander? And that is going to be a tough one if he can make it. Contact was made there earlier with him and Mollett, but no further contact this time.
Surprised race control haven't said anything about Ryan Elliott and his connection, because he's disappeared once again right ahead of Sanders, which might be causing a couple of problems. Here comes look to the inside. Crofton, Woodhatch, Ollie Stone still side by side for yet another corner. They come out of turn 10 on the race down towards the Hans Ernst block. It will be advantage though to Ollie Stone. Jack Badger might also chuck his hat into the ring, but has to settle behind. So Crofton Woodhatch remains in 7th position. Like I say, the bravery to chuck it around the outside at Masters, the corner that he had an issue with Hans Jakob Stevenson Mollett in the previous race, is wild to me.
And shows you that you have to be aggressive in this championship, and you can't be scared to do the same move again, even if it has been issues before. And as we work our way on to 6 minutes remaining in this race, the battle is still remaining, and all the positions are changing every single lap. Hard to keep up with this one. As we're going to see Sanders now coming to the outside of Elliott in towards turn number 1. In the background, of course, we're trying to see Lewis Werrell come around the outside of Elliott too. Can he make that stick? It's going to be a tough run, especially with the car moving all over the place, but it seems like Elliott is going to hold on to 3rd.
Yep, Shintani's starting to check out a little bit now, so there could also be that side-by-side with Werrell and Mollett for 4th position. Mollett with the outside line, he could have the advantage off the corner. Werrell gives him just enough room. Slipstream's being given, so Hans Jakob Siversen and Mollett then up into 4th, looking for 2 consecutive podiums after finishing in 2nd place in the previous race. Could be a victory on the line for him in this one.
Well, yeah, exactly. But Werrell there, coming through the banking, he almost chopped up enough towards Mollett to cover him off. But Mollett just had that bit of extra speed and was able to hold that very brave move on the outside in that 333 machine and working himself up nicely. He did say 1 by 1. That's certainly what he's doing. Now he's looking up to the podium. Ryan Elliott to the inside. It might be in towards turn 10. Can he just get there enough? No, really. He's going to hold it on that outside line. Might have a run down to the chicane.
Indeed, they're still going to remain side by side to a degree, but as pops out and pops back into existence as Ryan Elliott. It's got to be a brave move from the 333. Ryan Elliott tries to back out almost onto the nose though of Lewis Werrell. So drop back now into 4th position goes the 66. So Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett then up to 3rd position. He's only was comfortably within a second of Sam Sanders as well, so the chances of him going after a race victory in this will be very high. They head back out into the banking, they deploy the DRS. Well, there's not a rearing, it's fine. As I think Werrell might be past from Ryan Elliott now.
And Shintani for the lead as well. That's going to be a tough one. Loads of moves here down towards turn number 1. Werrell on that inside in that grey and green machine. Can he brake late enough to get past Elliott? Yes, he can. Stone's already going to be thinking about it. So Elliott, who was leading, now down in towards 5th place. Of course, he started from that pole position as well. But just showing you how the reverse grid generally means that you get the faster drivers coming up a little bit on the back and the top drivers maybe just going down. And that is what's causing this bunching together of the fast drivers being in behind. And that might be another position for Elliott. No, keeps that 5th place.
It's just a connection thing for Elliott at the moment. Here with a very tight line as they go through T6 for Shintani, which is where, if you watched Euro Cup 3 of all things, I think it was Michael Shin who had an absolutely unreal crash. It was absolutely fine afterwards, but he did have a very, very large crash going through turn 6 up towards Sky Black. So you've got to be careful of it every now and then. It can certainly bite you if you get it wrong. Inside line being taken from Mollett just to keep Werrell at bay. These two, as much as Mollett's not had a great start for the championship, these are definitely 2 people that I would classify as title protagonists. And for Lewis Werrell, it could be the lead of the championship after this, you know, with the issues, of course, for Fletcher and the retirement from him this race.
Yeah, big shame for the 111 car, who's looking... I still think he's looking good for the championship. I think he'll remain on that consistent form. But for Werrell, who's also been consistent, but more so top 5s all the time rather than podiums, he's going to be looking very good. Very wide, though, for Mollett in that 3rd place. And that might open the door for Werrell to come back. And also the top 2 to have their own battle. Come down in towards turn 1 in the background as well. Stone is having a look to the outside.
Yep, indeed. Like I say, we're going to have moves all the way up towards the line as Stone will try and get past here, but Elliott with a big move to the inside. Crofton Woodhatch sat behind, probably just hoping for a race without a big crash at this point. It's not had the best 2nd or 3rd race of the season. Sends it in quite deep, though, into turn 2. Does Crofton Woodhatch now will try and go around the outside of Oliver Stone. Will carry an awful lot of speed off the corner, though. If he's brave, he might do something down to Sky Black.
And he might be, is he going to the left, going to the right? Can he get his nose just down the inside? He can, and that is a great move there, because when we come up to the next corner, Sky Black, he will have that position as he got to back out of it on the outside line. What a brave move there from Woodhatch, the number 2 machine up into 6th place.
Yeah, that was a lovely move. That was so brave to have given that one a go. Still half a second, they separates the top 4 cars. Shintani, Sanders, Mollett and Werrell. Then it's Ryan Elliott about 8 tenths behind, and then we have this driver here, Crofton Woodhatch, a further 4 tenths behind. Could be in the battle for the victory with a couple of laps left to go. Once they hit the line, it will be the final lap. Shintani has the lead.
Certainly does, but will he be there in just a lap and a bit's time? We saw it changing to the line in the first race. Mollett lost out by 0.02 of a second from Mark Fletcher. Are we going to see similar? Because you have 4 cars now battling for the victory and some, further 5 cars battling in behind. So top 9 all on your screen there for one moment in time, as we're going to see Stone and Woodhatch also continuing their battle. Now as we come up to the line now to start the final lap, Shintani is going to be defending for his life.
Yeah, this is going to be big then. So the white flag's being waved by the marshals. That is certainly not what the drivers like Shintani want to see. They want to see the checkered flag, but alas, Shintani will drop back behind Sanders, who takes over the race lead. Mollett straight around the outside for second place. Is it going to be a hold for Mollett? Yes, it will be. Look, immediately the inside coming into turn 2. So aggressive for Mollett, but it's absolutely perfect as they come down into turn 2. Up into the Hugenhardt spot. Out wide goes Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett, and it could be the race lead by the time we get down towards Sky Black. Has the drive off the corner, and the 333 goes from 3rd place to 1st in a matter of 3 corners. Once we get towards Sky Black, that will be confirmed.
And Shintani's going to try and hold it down the inside for second place as well. He moves Sanders out the way politely and does keep that second position. It was almost 1st to 4th, but it's 1st to 2nd in the end. Can he do the exact same that Fletcher did and reverse Mollett's position up towards the line? Let's see how they go through the middle part of this lap. Look at Lewis Werrell as well in the background. He's trying to get a podium.
Yeah, if you think the 4 of these are going to finish this race in this order, think again. There is going to be some changes, whether it is Mollett losing the race victory for the 2nd consecutive one, whether it's Sanders dropping off the podium for Werrell, whether it's Shintani having so, I don't know. But this is not how it's going to cross the line. Shintani looks to the inside and already commits as we come down into turn 11. Maybe that's too early, but Shintani feels that now is the time. To the outside of turn 12 he's going to go. And Jakob Siversen Mollett with the inside line as they go through turn 12. We'll have the outside as they come down to the Kubo. And it's going to be a big send from Shoma Shintani. Could the up and under work? He's in too deep. There's contact. Oh my goodness. And Hans Jakob Siversen Mollett is sent into the barrier. Shoma Shintani will come through, but Sam Sanders could be victorious. Will it be Lewis Werrell? A huge drag race, 3 wide up towards the line. And will it be Werrell just across the line by hundredths of a second? It will be. Lewis Werrell came from nowhere, from 4th position, and in 2 corners takes the victory. I told you it wasn't going to finish in that order.
They certainly did. They basically reversed. What a finish at Zandvoort. So unfortunate for Mollett. It wasn't his issue at all. Shintani might be under a little bit of investigation from that, just sending it wide, coming back on the track, and unfortunately the contact was made. Mollett sent into the wall, and it's way outside of the top 10 as well. Big points lost there, unfortunately, for the 333. Werrell gets the victory in the end. I think you're right, Lewis. He should be leading the championship. He's looking very, very strong and putting his name forward.
Will definitely be leading the championship with championship rival and championship leader coming into this. Fletcher being down the order. I mean, that was absolutely wild. You said you wanted carnage, mate, and I think you got a little bit of it in there.
Yeah, this was lovely. So let's see. So this was coming up, obviously, towards the final few corners. Shintani decides to go for it here, and I think this was his mistake because Sanders, who we're on board with, then gets the run, and it turns it, instead of a 1-2 finish, essentially it's now going to be 3 cars, and yeah, Mollett doing his best, but Shintani did hold it up inside the final corner.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, let's take a look. We'll get a really good view here as the up and under will try and come in from the 333. Riding on board with Sam Sanders here. And it'll be the inside line being taken. And yeah, that is a tough one. That is a really tough one. Because Jan Jakob Siversen Mollett is on the absolute limit of the grip. It's been too deep from Shoma Shintani, who's then come back onto the line, and Lewis Werrell comes to take the victory. Absolutely wild scenes here in the 2nd race of the day. Of course, we do have British Formula 4 Esports to come up after this, but yeah, if that's how the day's going to start, I'm pretty sure we're getting some drama in that.
Yeah, there's
we'll take a look though.
Sorry, go ahead.
We'll take a look at the results provisionally, of course. Lewis Werrell by 300 a second, then taking the victory. Shoma Shintani in 3rd position, just behind Sam Sanders to cross the line. The 3 of those separated by just a 10th and a bit of a second. Ryan Elliott in 4th position, still within a second. Same with Ollie Stone, all finishing within 1 second of the victory. Crofton Woodhatch to 6th place with Jack Badger in 7th. Sikorsky in 8th. Loudon in 9th. And Ben Smith rounding out the top 10 with Werrell grabbing the fastest lap with a couple of laps left to go in that one. Mark Warner in 11th position before we get a couple of drivers who had drama very late on. Then, of course, Jan Jakob Siversen Mollett final corner and, well, basically retired from the race on it as Jonathan Smith will finish in 13th position. Harvey Jones, Mark Fletcher, championship leader. That'll be a big drama for the 111. Ian Joyner in 16th position with Sondre Mollett having another poor race, I'm afraid, which is a big shame indeed. But as we'll take a look at some of these replays, Cam, just again thrilling. I mean, we'll see again from this one. Shoma Shintani out wide. Do you think it's his rejoin that's the problem? Or do you think Mollett's not giving enough rear? What are you thinking here?
I see Shintani have a little jink to the right. So he's on the, you see here, there's just a little whoop. I don't know if he was fully in control of the car at that point, but the car does a little jink to the right, and that was enough. I actually feel a bit sorry for Sanders here because he couldn't really do much else. And Werrell just, you know, the passing of the seas in front of him, and he was able to obviously get the momentum. So he was perfectly poised to go from 4th to 1st to the line. But yeah, whatever that jink was to the right, that is really what caused the contact, because Mollet was coming over to the right naturally to allow Shintani the room, and then the car flicked right a little bit, and of course Mollet just couldn't react to that in time.
Yeah, indeed. I'm sure it was a moment of high heart rate for Lewis Werrell, and let's not just talk about it, let's talk to the driver about it, because it's time to catch up with Lewis Werrell, of course, after taking a fantastic victory. The second time we're going to have an interview with you. I mean, what is that? Yeah. Fourth at the penultimate corner, first at the line. Not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was a really fun race. I kind of just waited a bit, thought about more of the championship as Mark, I saw he DNF'd, so I think that will do pretty well. But sat there, and then I think it looked like Shomer lost the car and went into hands, and then just got the run, was in the right place at the right time.
It does seem as though this series we saw at Brands Indy, we saw a little bit here in both the first race and the second race, that it's a little bit chaotic. Is there a trick to keeping out of trouble? Is it just keeping your distance from someone and timing it right, or is it kind of not thinking about it and just kind of accepting what will be will be? I
mean, yeah, thinking about the championship quite early, I think, but yeah, I was just waiting there, waiting for everything to happen, and at the end it all came to me and ended up winning.
Obviously, qualifying didn't go ideal for you. You still had to work your way through a little bit, and then is that maybe what you're focused on a little bit more going into the future rounds, that maybe getting that qualifying right, or do you think kind of what you're doing now is working fine? I mean, you are the championship leader after all.
I mean, it's working well, but for sure, I think it's a lot safer to be at the front. But the problem is with quali, it was so close, and my best lap was my second lap, because on my last lap I made a mistake and lost 1.5 tenths. Obviously, it is what it is, but
we've got a couple of weeks though before the next round, so plenty of time to practice. I mean, how much practice do you put into this? How hard work is it for you to get the car, or yourself rather, in the car ready for the round?
Well, I did the 1 hour practice, and I probably did another half an hour, so not much actually, but I think the 1 hour practice helps a lot, because you can see who's going to be at the front. Like then we saw his Hans, Shomer, like the normal people, same as Brands Indy, so yeah.
Well, I respect that. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time, of course, when the series continues, but a fantastic drive there, Lewis, and again,
thank you. Thank you.
So Lewis Werrell then, of course, victorious here for the second race in the Formula Ford Championship here. It's a sports series for the British Formula 4 Esports. Let's talk to Sam Sanders then, the driver who was beaten this time by a very, very tiny margin. Sam, obviously jumping in here for the first time into the comms booth after a race. That was a very exciting one and a very chaotic run to the line. What did you make of it from your point of view? You had a great view.
Hello, yeah, it was good. Had the popcorn out at the end there. Really unlucky between Shomer and Hans. It was really tight racing, a couple of points coming up to the end there. Just very fortunate this time to come out on the right side of it. So yeah, very, very happy. Obviously Brands wasn't ideal, but to move forward to Zandvoort and get a couple of points on the board is a good feeling.
Two completely different circuits to start out the season. Brands Indy, such a tight, technical, almost oval, kind of annoying, however you want to play it. This is wildly different, big Grand Prix circuit. I'm assuming you prefer here than Brands Indy?
Yeah, I certainly felt the change when I went from quali and put it in 11th. I was like, oh no. But no, it was a good racing with everyone and really clean for the most part, so really enjoyable. It's a tight track and difficult to get past in a lot of places, but fortunate in a couple of those laps to get on the right side of the action, and so yeah, really pleased with it this time around.
Yeah, we were comparing it a little bit, of course, to Silverstone, which will be coming up, another Grand Prix circuit later on in the season. The way that this race is and the way that race is going to be completely different, because that's wide open. This is a lot tighter. This is more, what I would say was almost more of a typical Grand Prix circuit, close to what we're going to have when we go to like something like Brands Grand Prix or even Donington Grand Prix, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of tight choke points where everyone's kind of really close together. Certainly the end of the straight being one, and then up to the fast right-hander after the carousel. And that was really, really scary. A couple of points where you're 2x2x2, just kind of hoping it all comes together. So it'll be nice to have a bit more room to work with in Silverstone, so that we're not just climbing over the top of each other. So yeah, really looking forward to that, and the rest of the calendar. It looks like it's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, now we finally get a little bit of a breather. What are the main takeaways for you over the first couple of rounds?
Well, certainly it went a lot better this time. Just trying to prioritise getting through to the checkered flag. Obviously, it's a long championship, and you've got to rack the points up to start with, having already had a rough round at Brands Hatch. So I think really, as is often said, you've got to finish to accumulate the points, and so I'll be trying to do my best to make sure I stay out of trouble going forwards.
Well, congratulations on a very well-deserved podium. Very close to a victory, but I'm sure that one's just on the horizon.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, Sam. And of course, one final driver to interview in all of this will be Shoma Shintani. So, Shoma, for the second, you join us in the commentary booth, because that victory back in Brands Indy was excellent. This one, bit of an instant out of the final corner. What did you make of it from your point of view?
It was not my it was not on my purpose. I just wanted to trend, and I went to inside, but there's no grips, and I made understeer, and I touched some grass, and I lost my rear, and yeah, I made a contact to hands, so it was so unfortunate contact, but yeah, but I'm still happy with the P3.
Yeah, it looked like it was a lot of fun racing out there, a lot of 3 wide, a lot of 4 wide at points. Yeah. Is that what you found? It was enjoyable coming through the field, of course, in that first race, and then in the second?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed so much this round. Brands Indy was a tough one for me, because I have no pace at all. But today I have enough pace, like top 3. So yeah, this was enjoyable for me.
Is that pace difference from Brands Indy to here? Is that purely you getting along with the track here rather than at Brands Indy, or have you been learning things in this car?
I like this long track, like Zandvoort or Ocean Park, but I don't know. But I have no speed at small tracks like Brands Indies. So yeah, that I don't know why, but I know I need to improve myself.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much, Shoma. Great podium, great battling, very, very enjoyable. Cheers, Shoma.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. And Cam, that's it then for the Formula Forwards for another week. We are getting ready for the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. This is going to be a lot of fun, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. If those Formula Ford races are anything to go by, this is going to be insane racing. And obviously slightly longer race as well, so these guys are going to put on a show for us.
Yes, indeed. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a little bit of a breather, catch our breath, and get ready for round 2 of the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, our first ever round abroad.
Need expert support for your sim racing setup? SimRig Support has you covered. With over 2,000 hours of experience, our team excels in diagnosing and resolving issues swiftly. Submit a ticket for remote help, send us your hardware with a prepaid label, or book an on-site visit. We handle all major brands from wheel to PC problems. Trust SimRig Support to keep you racing.
My name's Kieran Prendergast. I race for Mensa Racing, sponsored by DBU, otherwise known as Driven by Us. And it's my first season in British Formula 4 as well, on iRacing. So I got into motorsport games via a competition that was running on ACC that was done by MS UK. We had the qualifiers that were to be done at home, and then obviously the next stage of the qualifiers were done at Williams as well. And I won it, and I'll be going to Valencia in October to represent my country. To be honest, when I got announced to represent my country, I couldn't really put into words how I felt at the time. I was with my dad, and yeah, it was quite emotional, to be honest, but yeah, happy nevertheless. So it's funny that I actually won my first championship on AOR on open wheeler. And then obviously competition kind of died down on F1 for me on the console sides of things. And then decided to go into GT, well, it was what was P cars, and then eventually ACC. And yeah, just enjoyed it a lot more, and found that there's a lot more competition and ways of challenging myself as well, so yeah. Of course. I know that the competition is very fierce as well. I know it's going to be very tight and competitive, but I don't really pay too much attention about that. I normally focus on myself and make sure that I get the best result for the team and obviously for me as well. So that's what I'm focused on really as well. It's to win the Motorsport Games in Valencia. I know that the country has high expectations since James Baldwin won the last Motorsport Games as well, so I've been putting in practice and a lot of hours already for it as well, so I guess my aims in that case would be to win the Motorsport Games, and obviously the next couple races that I have in SRO to do my best in as well.
Well, yes, indeed. Thank you very much to Kieran Prendergast for that interview, of course, and thank you all for joining us here as the British Formula 4 Esports Championship will head to Circuit Zandvoort. We are back and ready to go racing. Lewis McGlade, Cameron Roger alongside me in the comedy booth. This one is going to be so much fun. We started the season at Brands Indy, and what a difference a week makes when it comes to the circuit race now. This is going to be crazy.
Yeah, this is something completely different, and the drivers are going to be giving us an immense 2 races of action coming to you this evening. I can't wait to see what they're going to do on a completely different style of track.
Yeah, indeed. Still racing in the same way, of course, though. They'll go into lone qualifying in a few moments' time. Already in it, actually. Starting grid. Then we'll go into race 1, 20 minutes. We'll have the reverse grid ready, and we'll go into race 2 as well. It's going to be absolutely chaotic as it was just a week ago. We'll talk quickly through the prizes as well. Of course, there's different prizes for the drivers and for the teams there. Things like the Club 100 experiences for the teams as well, along with testing, hospitality for any round of the British Formula 4 Championship in 2025, which I might be popping down to Brands Hatch if anyone's around, and of course that fantastic day in the base performance simulator in Banbury, which of course they had last year as well, so absolutely fantastic prizes in there. The calendar, of course, we started at Brands Indy. We're here at Zandvoort. We have a couple of week break before we go to Snetterton, Alton Park, and then Silverstone before we get a couple of week break before we end with the trio of Knockhill, Donington Park and Brands Hatch, the return to West Kingsdown, of course, where this championship really it feels fitting to end at, of course. We'll take a look at the Drivers' Championship after the first round and some excellent podiums. Remy Gilbert up in the top of the standings. Leo Brown victorious in the first race in second place. Graham Carroll victorious in the second in third. Henry Moore moving up from the Formula 4s into the Formula 4s, of course, fourth position in that. Matt Carroll on a couple of good results. Some big names, obviously, further down the order. Goga Baldi, Will Chadwick, Dana Moore. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. As Pablo Espez and Joseph Loke. We did catch up with a little bit of the weekend, actually. In the constructor side of things, though, no one is shocked with some excellent performances in those races. So consistent, always in the top 5. Guild Esports top the championship from the Ferrari team as well. So they're in second spot. Mensa Racing, driven by us, they're in third position with the Guild Academy car. That one being Henry Moore, of course, in fourth position all by himself.
Absolutely, and a great jump up there. He had such a strong performance. Well, we mentioned before, Guild did as well. They just basically dominated. They had the speed at Brands Indy, despite it only being about 4 corners on that track. They were able to just have those extra thousandths of a second, so he's really going to be close. And actually the Ferrari cars as well, but they're both of them up there towards the front, so it's interesting how that one fared. But as we come to a completely different style of track, we're going to have to see obviously how this is working out. But actually, for the likes of Henry Moore, he's already back up towards the top.
Yeah, and it's Riker then. So big one for BS. They had a really terrible round back in Brands Indy, not to be the bearer of bad news, but it wasn't great for them. Wasn't really great for the likes of Alexander Spets either. He currently sits in 6th position. Again, one thing that we're noting here, Cam, is a tight qualifying session. Riker from Moore from Caruana are all within a 10th of a second. Graham Carroll, one of the drivers that's definitely in contention here for the championship, only sat back in 4th position, a 10th and a bit off the pole.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy season with how close these results are, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see basically thousandths of a second separating every single pole position this season. It's going to be quite something. But yeah, Henry Moore, of course, is doing a good job so far, although maybe not on that corner.
Yeah, went a little bit wide there at the going out of 12, and so this lap will definitely be invalidated. I don't know if he's on an actual timed one at the moment, or whether he's completed his allotted amount of laps in the session. Again, will not get another one. That will end the session for Henry Moore regardless, because only 1 minute and 20 seconds left to go in the session. There can be no lap time from Henry Moore. It's still rapid regardless. Here's Graham Carroll then out through the final corner, has got a 1 minute 33.138 onto the board, and across the line with a 30.0. Good enough for 2nd place as Johnny Cattler improves to 5th.
This is awesome though. Less than a 10th for the top 4 drivers. So yeah, we've seen Carroll go up to P2. His teammate Baldy coming out of the final corner, get the run up towards the line. And we mentioned it's still a long run, even for these cars with a bit more power, a bit more downforce. Tyne goes up into 6th place. What's it going to be for Baldy? Can he get himself inside the top 10? Looks like it's going to be 13th position.
Big shame for Gogo Baldi, someone who's got such experience in the world of sim racing. Not really the ideal start for him, as we'll have Saoirse Fitzpatrick then, who we'll see running around the circuit. At the moment, sat in 24th position, about a second and a half off of the pole. I think quite a few drivers have ended their session. Will Chadwick, obviously, that session's over. For quite a few, though, the session's already over because they don't have enough time to come around and complete a lap anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. A short session around here, but Riker looking very good at this moment in time. Doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to beat him. So that's a lot better from BS Competition. Didn't have the best start, as you're saying, but from pole position, he can certainly do something from that. But he has so many fast drivers in behind. It's going to be hard to predict the winner here.
Yes, indeed. Great stuff, though, from Elias Riker to have grabbed that pole position. What a turnaround for the BS Competition team. And we'll take a look at the starting grid then. Riker will start from 1st place. Graham Carroll will start alongside in that front row with Henry Moore. Great qualifying for the Guild driver in 3rd. Quite far ahead of the other Guild drivers. Matt Caruana then in 4th position with Johnny Cattler and Jarl Tyne up the order. So again, looking good for BS Competition in 1st and 6th. Isaac Price in 7th for G2 Esports. Got some news on those as well. Alexander Spets in 8th, Will Chadwick in 9th, with Remy Gilbert, championship leader, down in 10th position, just ahead of Leo Brown, race winner in the opening race of the season. Martau will start from 12th position before we get to Gogo Baldi. Pablo Espes will start from 14th position in the Williams Esports Academy car, with Ryan McAuliffe in 15th. You've got Stugelet, of course, in 16th position, with Lafaro starting from 17th. Conor Muir will start from 18th position, just ahead of Manuel Biancalilla, jumping in for Joseph Loke this time, or really it's his seat back. Joe Hull will start from 20th position. We've got Kulik back in 21st, Prendergast in 22nd, Olivia Hayward starting from 23rd, and Saoirse Fitzpatrick starting from 24th. It is Beckham Jasir starting from the final position on the grid. Cam, it is a very different grid to what we had just a week ago in the positions they're lining up on. It's going to be an exciting one, this.
Oh, certainly, and it is going to be a great job to see who is going to master this track. It's a lot different to what we had last time. The racecraft is going to be quite a bit different. We've seen overtakes to the line in both the Formula Ford races out to the final corner, and I just wonder if someone's going to have that in their back pocket when we get to the final lap here as well.
Yeah, indeed. Well, like I say, for those drivers that didn't start out the season so well a week ago, now is the time to turn things around, because there's no drop round, none of that in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. You've got to run from the start of the season to the end of the season without any major problems, and 20 minutes put onto the clock as we go for the first time international racing in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. It's Riker starting from pole position, it's Henry Moore starting from third, and of course between them it's Graham Carroll in that red Ferrari as we get racing down to the first corner. Good start from Graham Carroll to the inside of Riker already, who go around the outside at Tarzan to try and hang on to the race lead. BS Competition at the front of the field after that pole, and it will be a hold. Out wide goes a couple of cars in the background. I think that might have been the likes of Leo Brown and Remy Gilbert in the other Guild racing car, but at the moment it's a really solid start from our top contingent.
Yeah, looking very nice. There's a decent start in the background from the two G2 cars. They're sitting in 5th and 6th place as it stands. As we come up the hill, no one really side by side in top lot, but 3 wide in the background. Cars all over the grass as they try to get a little bit crazy up towards Skyback for the first time of asking. That looks like it might be Ryan McAuliffe losing place to the number 6 of LaFaro. And as we come up towards turn 8 for the first time, top 4 very close.
Yes, indeed. They are extremely tight, we'll say. Gil going out a little bit wide. Henry Moore with a move to the inside on Graham Carroll. This could work in Carroll's favour over the inside line and going into turn 10. Matt Caruana might be able to pounce as well as he sends his way down the inside, going down to the 10th corner. Out wide behind all that, got Jarl Time running out a little bit deep. He's dropped the position already to wide. Henry Moore completes his move, or well, almost so, coming down into the Hans Erzbach is Henry Moore to the inside of Matt Caruana, who sends it in deep. Henry Moore with a big moment in deep. Matt Caruana, 3rd position. That was brilliant stuff.
Yeah, I tell you what, I thought Henry Moore was gone there, but he managed to save it. And look at the long train of cars. Absolutely insane. These cars, how they can stay so close. So that's very wide there from Katala. He needs to be watching out to not lose the slipstream of the cars in front of him. As we come across the line, though, it is Riker who's able to hold on from his pole position, but everyone is chasing him down.
Couple of drivers then dropping down the order. Matt Caruana gives a bit of a look. Jarl Tyne dropped back to 7th position on the start. Alex Spetz dropped down to 12th from 8th. So not a great start from him. So already a few position switches in all of this. On Martau go a little bit deep there at turn 1. You can see the position switches on there. Remy Gilbert as well losing further positions to the champion leader. Not having a great qualifying. Not having a great start to the opening race here at Circuit Zandvoort. It's Elias Riker leading from Graham Carroll, from Matt Caruana, from Henry Moore, from Yoni Katala, the top 5.
And the pressure that they're putting on each other. A few interesting lines there.
Not liking that.
Come up towards the sky flag. That's not necessarily the way to do it. But yeah, loads of pressure being put on Riker, and he's got to hold on for a very long time. And we know at one point some of these drivers are going to send it down the inside. Are they going to do it once more?
Yeah, they're going to give it a good look, I'm sure. Let's see, go down into turn 10 then. There's a bit of a look, but nothing major, no big sends. Matt Caruana holding on to 3rd position at the moment. This is not what we were seeing a week ago when we saw Guild running basically 1st, 2nd and 3rd at various points, looking absolutely dominant at the front of the field. They were in the top 5, I think, with all 3 of their drivers in both of the races. It's now Henry Moore who's the only one for Guild, and that's the Guild Academy car, not the team that's leading the championship on the point side of things. That's Leo Brown and, of course, Remy Gilbert that are behind the wheel of that car. Henry Moore does not add points on that side of things. He's currently the lead driver for that team as we see Matt Caruana jump through the final turn. There could be a switch to the race lead here. Graham Carroll could be giving him a look down the inside of Riker. BS Competition going for him. Matt Caruana's going to make it 3 wide as we head down towards Tarzan. It's Matt Caruana with the big send to the inside. He gets onto the brakes. Will he be able to stop the car, or will there be contact? Brilliant move from Caruana, who goes from 3rd to 1st.
Double slipstream being used to great effect, and actually it's going to be side by side in the background though. Loads of issues there. The 88 Will Chadwick who's running up towards the front at the previous race, but not this time around, and we come back to front here because Caruana has been able to hold on to that lead as Carroll stays in 2nd place, but the cars around him flip-flop.
Yeah, Leo Brown also dropped back in all that. Riker and Carroll switching over. Once again, that awkward line coming in from Henry Moore to the outside. Riker's going to go as they head their way down into Sky Flag. This could be dangerous as well. Bit of a slide as well. Riker getting pushed out wide. Here comes Henry Moore then to the inside as we head down towards Masters. Brilliant move from Henry Moore. Out a little bit wide in the exit of Masters. Graham Carroll will look to the inside. Matt Caruana is checking out now.
It's crazy how it's just like a plug in a sink. As soon as one overtake comes, everyone sees the opportunity, and for half a lap they go crazy before they get back into their single file formation. And that was a little bit wide. There's Carroll wiggles there in that 3rd position as it stands. Of course, Moore then getting himself up into the top 2. In the background, 3 wide almost coming down in towards the braking zone. Huge sense in the background. Is that Martel maybe? No, Remy Gilbert as well making some moves. He was down to 14th, now back up to 11th.
I think it was Pablo Espes who tried making the move on Gogo Bowdy, looking to the inside, and it's cost him as Remy Gilbert Gilbert's worked his way through, is able to fend off Lafaro. Ryan McAuliffe now knocking at the door to try and work his way into the scene after an awkward qualifying. Leo Brown's dropped right the way down to 17th after that issue on the previous lap. We're not even 5 minutes complete in this race, Cam. Matt Caruana, though, has the lead by 0.3 of a second. That's definitely closing down as Graham Carroll. I think that weave from Carroll was more his communication to be like, look, I'm not fighting you, mate. You go close him down, then we'll have some fun time battling for the race victory.
Yeah, I think I agree on that one. He was very smart with his overtakings back at Brands Indy. Looks like it's going to be the same again. Side by side in towards turns 2 and 3. That's an absolute send there by McAuliffe, making up a position. And that is currently 15th. But look how close everyone is up ahead. That is still some good positions. Remember, top 15 is the potential reverse grid for this series.
Yes, indeed, as they again remain extremely close. There's a look to the inside from Leo Brown, trying to get into 16th spot, but can't quite complete that move. Now we're talking, that whole talk of championship on the constructor side of things, on the team's championship side of things. So trying to make that move. And again, as we said for Guild Racing, just to remind you, as Remy Gilbert is going to get past Gogo Baldi and up inside the top 10. This car here, despite it being a Guild car, it's the Guild Academy car. It does not add points to Guild in the championship. We have also lost Danamore. I'll touch on that one very quickly when it comes to the Academy cars that have worked up from the Formula Fords. Of course, Danamore not in this round. He's decided to focus a little bit on the IndyCar Championship. I think it's mostly because he's scared because he doesn't have that board in the background they could put messages on, but he's decided to focus there because, well, that's where a lot of the Apex Racing drivers are. They're not in this.
Yeah, absolutely. But the championship is no worse, because look at what we're seeing on the track. The first couple of races of the season have been absolutely insane. This third one so far is looking very good. Everyone is so close together, having a great fight up towards the front. So Caruana had a little bit of a gap forming, but Danamore, thanks to Carroll not really overtaking him for a lap or so, not putting the pressure on him that much, Moore is able to just close down, and Caruana is going to be looking in his mirrors once again. So it's definitely not over, but pretty insane stuff here. So we've had issue for Leo Brown. He was up inside the top 10 at one point. He's dropped down, and even more bad news for Guild.
Yeah, indeed. No, we've highlighted the fact that he's running in 17th position a couple of times on the back end of... well, now he's ahead. So he has made his way through. So Leo Brown moving up to 16th position. As highlighted a little bit earlier, so it's all good. Well, I say all good. It's really pretty bad for Guild on that sense. As here's the disappointment for Will Chadwick. What's happened to him? He looks devastated.
That is such a cool graphic. Good old Will Chadwick, of course, RaceSpot's very own commentator as well. Let's see how this happened to him, though. Down in towards turn 1, that is the old tie-in just to his outside. And just a bit of contact is made, and unfortunately 33. So that's obviously how Brown went down. So not the ideal situation for any of those drivers involved.
And he looked devastated, did Will Chadwick. I was there regging him on when he was making that face as well. It's a poor guy. And then he had to sit down and chat with me for a little bit. Well, he's not going to be chatting with me after an interview after this one. He's way too far down the order. As Boyankalila and Lafaro will switch positions. Henry Moore right at the rear end once again of Matt Caruana. A bit of weaving happening between the pair of them as they head down to the first corner. Is there going to be a look for the race lead? Matt Caruana says, not quite yet. I don't think Henry Moore was going for it. This has calmed down quite a lot. Trust me, this is going to be set ablaze in the near future.
Yeah, did you see that communication though between them? Caruana just did a little wiggle, and straight away Moore did a little wiggle back as if to say, yep, I understand what you're saying. They're not going to overtake at this very moment in the race, because what they want to do is they want to get rid of drivers behind them. If they battle, they keep the top 10. There's, what has happened? Huge contact down at turn 3.
Yeah, indeed, quite a few cars that are off and all that. That's going to take some looking over. Conor Muir, you saw there in the Aston Martin. I think we saw Joel Hull, who was also sent off there. No, he's been working up behind the scenes. We had a little chat with him as well. And again, I did see him post some stuff on social media as well. But a bit of a shame for Hull after that. I think Prendergast also involved in that. Back to Matt Caruana. Out wide goes Graham Carroll, just a touch, dragging out Elias Riker as well. We're not even halfway through the opening race of the evening here.
Certainly not, but what a train at the front. Insane stuff. It looks like the top 10 basically all on your screen, and a few stragglers trying to hold on to that. This is definitely more than the rule of 6 that we've been mentioning in this series, but I do think they are being a little bit more calm. Let's see how this... Oh no, contact left rear to right front, and Hull spun around just like we saw with Sikorsky in the Formula Fords.
Yeah, Hull could do nothing in that, and there was a rear wing missing. I think after all that, there was right ahead ahead of Muir, who could do nothing about it. One of the Prismatics just trying to come through and avoid all that. I think there was even more contact with Will Chadwick trying to force his way through. All just a bit messy in all that, I am afraid. Either way, we'll look back to Matt Caruana, who I did catch up with actually the weekend. He appeared at Brands Hatch on Saturday with Ryan McCallum, did Matt Caruana. Someone else who appeared, I've noticed him in chat, Ibrahim Khan also appeared. Everyone's just appearing at Brands Hatch every now and then. At the moment, they're appearing all over the circuit here at Zandvoort, as once again, it will be the top 9 cars at the moment battling for this victory.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. We are seeing the top 3. May just be a car length at the moment, but maybe just starting to form a little bit of a gap. Let's see if Riker can catch back down. I'm sure he can, as Bianca gets himself up into 12th place ahead of this man's teammate, Gergo Baldy. But Graham Carroll, that we're riding on board with, has been in 3rd place for a little bit now, as they seemingly, with the body language, chose not to fight just yet. But we are into the second half of this race, and you do know that the points are very important in this series, so it's not like they're going to be avoiding the overtakes, but they're just trying to find the right time to do it.
Drop the green screen in the background as Graham Carroll, but still has a bright red Ferrari shirt on, rightfully so, as the driver who won the previous race of the championship in that fantastic drive at Brands Indy, looking for a 2nd consecutive victory here, but still 9 minutes away from the conclusion of this race. Still plenty of laps around Circuit Zandvoort. Matt Caruana, Henry Moore, Graham Carroll, Riker, Cattler, Price, Tyan, Spets and Martel. Remy Gilbert's not too far behind as well, could rejoin this fight as well, dragging along the likes of Pablo Espez as well. This grouping, trust me, they are not racing at the moment. They are chilling right now. They're ticking off laps. They're not really thinking about making up that progress. As soon as they do, it's going to be like this all over the place. As Manuel Biancalilla and Gergo Baldi, 2 of the more experienced drivers in the world of sim racing, do battle here up towards turn 3.
And this is looking good for the Italian. Can he get his car up onto the high line to cover up Baldi? Just about, but Baldi's going to keep his foot in there. A little bit on the grass, but look at the momentum that outside line has. Crazy stuff with that new banking a few years ago being added and adding to the battles, but Baldi able to hold on. It really is such a strong run. You just keep it up to the white line, high through turn 3, and you have to run all the way up the hill too.
It's an interesting seat, isn't it? Got a little cushion on there just to soften it. To be fair, I've always said when I'm driving and stuff, I get bits that, maybe because of my age, but I get bits that start going numb and such.
Maybe because of your age.
Yeah.
You're at that point in life.
I'm an old man. I'm not going to lie. Before we, whoa, big look to the inside. There's been Spets as well. I'll talk about that in a second. Martel's been round. This has gone to absolute chaos stations. Pablo Espez has been round. Gritiago Martel's been round. Gergo Baldi's come through to 8th position and all that. So it's 8 for the race lead. Well, actually, no, let's make that 7. There's been a 2-car crash in that race lead battle. And so, yeah, I think also the 2 of them have dropped out of it. Is Spets and Martel both Williams drivers?
And we were just saying for a moment that everything was looking good, they're not battling, but then all hell breaks loose to the back end of the top 10. So definitely some big issues happening there, and a huge gap, as you're saying, has opened up. Let's see this. Bit of a dive down the inside is going to be from Spets. Small contact, but then it's the further issues that was really causing that.
Just tried making a move on Tyan, and like I say, Tyan just trying to give enough room. Yeah, who was that who came through? Oh, it was Remy Gilbert. It was Remy Gilbert, yeah. So Remy Gilbert was coming through, took an absolute whack. Pablo Espez also involved. So Williams lost 3 cars in that. Pablo Espez, Martel, and Spets.
That is so unfortunate. They are just not having the season, are they? It's only been the 3rd race of it. They're really going to have to try and come back in the middle part of the season after being so close, you know, towards the championships in the previous season last year, 2023, but here in 2024. And it's definitely a new look to the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. As up towards the front, though, we are seeing a familiar name of Matt Caruana. A bit behind him, Henry Moore, of course, your champion of the Formula Fords last season.
Yeah, indeed. Finished that season 16 races, 15 podiums in that. Yet to take a podium. Did not have a podium back at the previous round at Brands Indy, but desperately looks for his first podium, which could potentially be a victory here to make it a 2nd victory for Guild on the season. Matt Caruana looking for a 2nd victory of his British F4 esports career. Same with Graham Carroll as well. Then you've got the likes of Cattler, of Price, of Tyan, of Baldi, of Martel. Well, Martel a little bit too far, I would say with Baldi. But the rest of them, they're all looking for their first victory. So it's only in this group, Caruana and Carroll who have victories.
crazy stuff how this championship works, but every single one of these drivers is fast enough. Clearly they're in this top group, but they're also good enough to get a victory today. They just have 5 more minutes to try and work it out. Henry Moore hasn't gone for anything for a little while, so I wonder when the floodgates will open and he'll start to take the opportunities. In the background, Martel and Baldy having a great scrap there for P8.
Yeah, indeed, some cracking chops and changes in all of this as Bianca Lilla will come out ahead of Martel, riding on board with Henry Moore. Of those 15 podiums, by the way, 10 of those were victories in the Formula 4. I know it's a different kettle of fish when it comes to competition, but still shows how well he's versed to this. So Martel's dropped back behind Bianca Lilla, Baldi up into 8th position. Ryan McAuliffe also in tow in this fight. Someone pointed out, by the way, Digital Gaming pointed out in chat, rightfully so, that Luke McEwen ended up scoring 0 points from the first round last season and still went on to win the championship by a very tiny margin, but still, a win is a win, as Gergo Baldi will try and defend from Bianca Lilla, and McAuliffe's looking very serious here in the dark. Oh, nearly into the back of Martel.
Oh god, you should have seen the face that I just pulled there. I thought that was going to be a big wreck, but fortunately he was able to stop the car in time. And yeah, not too bad from McAuliffe with the race going on. He hasn't had the cleanest race so far, but he has the potential to get even up to 8th place, which is currently being held by that red Ferrari car of Gergo Baldi. He wiggles to the right, wiggles to the left as they come down the front straight, trying to do everything to avoid the slipstream of the Italian of Bianca Lilla in behind. He's going to go to the outside line for turn number 1, uses the speed around the outside, but not more contact is made in this race as Baldi goes off with Bianca Lilla.
Yeah, Bianca Lilla and Baldi just making contact with the first turn, and away they went. So there's more drama to look at, more replays for us to go through. Cam, you asked for chaos in the Formula 4 race. I think we're getting a fair amount of that dished out here as we have 7 cars sort of battling for the race. The Alpine's dropped back from this just a touch. I think maybe he's thinking, look, I'm going to take a little step away from this and I'll rejoin it in a sec as I'll try and hammer my way into it for a chance of victory. Once we finish this lap, I believe it'll be 2 to go at the line. So we've got 3 laps or 2.5 laps left to go of this one. Matt Caruana continues to lead, and trust me, this is going to be turned up bit by bit. Talk me through this incident, Cam.
Okay, so Bianca is on the outside. It's hard to see from that angle. I want to see how far Baldi comes away from the white line. Not too much, you know. There's a tiny wiggle on the rear end, but he really is holding quite tight. So Bianca Lilla was trying to V that in there as much as possible, and maybe just holding it down a little bit too much for the racing room side of things.
Yeah, it was very tight indeed, and all that's all we know. Yoni Cattler then went out wide. The team that's scoring some great points in all this, by the way, G2. Cattler and Price. Things aren't maybe looking too good for G2 behind the scenes, but looking great in this race. Here comes Henry Moore, then penultimate lap of the race about to begin. Might even be 3 to go at the line. I'll double check the timing in just a sec. But Henry Moore's decided that now's the time to go for it. Moore sends it down the inside of the first turn and will pass Matt Caruana. This is going to turn everything on now as Graham Carroll's having a look down into turn 2.
Yeah, they've waited, and now this is the time. It's a 2-3 lap dash to the end, and who is going to come out on top at the moment is the 77 Guild Academy car, leading, of course, in just his 2nd round in this championship, doing such a good job. We've got some experienced guys in behind. First of all, it's Caruana, and now Graham Carroll that we ride on board with as they work their way through this middle sector. We saw a huge send down the inside in towards turn 9 on the first lap. Is someone going to recreate that this time?
Definitely penultimate lap of the race, by the way. So Henry Moore has decided now's the time to take the lead. Pablo Espes and Manuel Bianca will switch over for 11th position. Again, that is important. The reverse grid for this is not the 5 through 10 that it is for the Formula Fords. It is 5 through 15 for the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. So even Gergo Baldi's got a small percentage chance to take that. As we'll head down into turn 11 and 12. This is going to change a lot, Cam. I don't think we're going to get quite the drag race line in the Formula Fords, but it's going to be tight.
Certainly is, and as you say, coming on to the final lap, white flag will be out. Henry Moore will take it. Caruana is so close. Can we see an overtake to the line? Is there going to be enough speed? It might just be enough on that final lap, but who's going to lead it as we get down towards turn 1 to start it?
Yeah, here we go then. To the outside goes Matt Caruana, looking for a second victory in British Formula 4 Esports. Sends it in around the outside of Tarzan. Henry Moore with the inside line, takes a little bit of the curb, has a little bit of a slide courtesy of it. Beautiful move coming in from Matt Caruana, but can he complete it as it drops back in line? Henry Moore has to settle for second. That was an absolutely insane move from Matt Caruana to go straight around the outside at turn 1 rather, to take over first place.
And I tell you what, it's going to be hard for Henry Moore now. That's the best overtaking opportunity on the track. And of course, he comes at the start of it, around the outside, maybe switching to the inside for Henry Moore. He's trying to do something to get offline with Caruana. Turn 9 is the next good opportunity to send it up the inside there. We saw the attempt on that first lap. Are we going to see it once again? Caruana leads, Moore in second place. This is the one, but no, they don't go for it.
Pablo Espes out of the race on the final lap as well, so he'll be dropping right the way down. Big slide coming in. Graham Carroll's going on the attack. We head down into turn 10 now, into the braking zone. Graham Carroll aiming for a good exit as we head down towards the Hansard's box. Is there going to be a move coming in from Henry Moore? Matt Caruana continues to lead. This is the final lap of the race. The time is ticking down. We're into the final few opportunities. Big look coming in from Henry Moore. Can't see an opportunity to come through here as we head now through turn 12. 2 more corners left to go. Kumo and Ari Lyondike. And who's going to go for a move? Way too far back is Henry Moore, and it is the redemption story potentially here for Matt Caruana, who's going to come through the final corner as the leader as we head down to the bank of the Ari Lyondike curve. It's going to be a drag race up towards the line. Henry Moore's going to be closing in. I'm not sure it's going to be enough as he pulls over to the right-hand side. Matt Caruana back to the top step of the podium as he was once last season. He takes his second victory in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship as Henry Moore has to settle for second. Graham Carroll, I'm sure he's championship leader now. Third place, great drive.
And some great results for BS and G2 and behind with those 4 drivers from Riker, Katala, Price and Tyan filling out your top 7. So really good race to start the evening. Of course, one more to go with the reverse grid. And very clean racing up towards the front. Good move by Moore to get the lead, but then Caruana just slicing it back through on that final lap.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely brilliant racing in all of that. Just fantastic scenes. And again, an excellent result indeed. Of course, you've got the reverse grids to deal with in the next race. Got a few drivers still yet to cross the line. But again, what an absolutely excellent fight. 7 drivers separated by 1.3 seconds in that top grouping. Absolutely incredible. Love that one, and I'm very excited for the next one. I think there's a few drivers that didn't enjoy that one. Beckham just here probably being one of those, and the Williams Esports team probably not being one of those. Before we get to the results, though, it's time for the spinny wheel. 5 to 15. Which one's grabbing the reverse grid pole? Is it going to be 12 or 11? It's going to be a big one, though. 12th place is going to be the reverse grid pole. So all these are going to drop back absolute miles. Matt Caruana then takes the victory for the second time in his career. Henry Moore up there on the podium for the first time. We'll get a chat with the top 3 as well, so we'll get Carroll in as well. Elias Riker there in 4th position with Yoni Katla and Isaac Price. Good points for BS competition. Good points for BS competition, to be fair. I said good points for G2, good points for BS competition. Elias Riker and Jarl Tyan there, 4th and 7th for the team. Quitiago Martau, the lone Williams up in all this after a big drama for them. Ryan McAuliffe and Giuseppe Lafaro for the Aztec Racing by Grid Finder team at the back end of the top 10. We get Will Chadwick on the front row alongside Manuel Bianca Lilla for the next race. That one's going to be exciting. And then the rest of them don't get reversed. So Studacek will start from where he finished this race in 13th. Gogo Bowley in 14th. Olivia Hayward into 15th. Decent results for Prismatic in 15th and 16th with Sergio Fitzpatrick as well. Pablo Espes and Leo Brown in 17th and 18th. Alexander Spetz and Beckham Jasir 19th and 20th for Williams Esports. Pablo Espes also down there as well. Huge drama for the Williams team, all basically in one turn. Remy Gilbert will be in 21st, so big drama for Guild in the Teams Championship with Shaman Kulic rather down in 22nd. Kieran Prendergast, Conor Muir and Joel Hull all out of the race. You're going to go silent for a second because we've all joined the wrong Discord. Be right back. I'm the slow one to join. That's fine. Of course, we'll grab ourselves our interview with the top 3. We'll start, of course, with Matt. It's been a long time for this redemption arc to complete, and I feel, Matt, we are at a completion. When I saw you, I looked pretty happy at the weekend, and looking even more happy now. Excellent victory. What a drive.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm happy to come back with a win. Last week I was up at the front, but I just couldn't do anything with 3 of the Guild drivers. But yeah, this track's a bit more easy to defend on. So yeah, I held the lead, managed to get that move done on the outside, and yeah, that was it.
Yeah, Graham Carroll said a week ago that the championship effectively starts now because we lose Brand Indy, which is like the oddity on the calendar. Is that kind of what you were feeling coming into this round, that this is where it really begins?
Yeah, I think so. I think Brand Indy's probably the odd one out, like Graham said on the calendar. yeah, I feel like it started, to be honest. Both the guild drivers that are ahead of me didn't have the best of races, so that puts me in a good position in the championship.
Let's talk about your move for the overtake for the race lead there outside of turn 1 at Tarzan. That was brave. That was well thought out. Is that where you were expecting the move to come from, or were you expecting maybe a different point of the second? I mean, it was so brave to go around there.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be on the inside, to be honest, but I knew Henry was going to cover it off, so there wasn't really any point trying. So I just tried to stick it around the outside and managed to get the grip on the exit and clear him before the next bit. But I feel like if I wouldn't have cleared him there, then he would have just gone back around my outside, so I had to get it done there.
Now, before I let you go, I've got to give you some terrible news, I'm afraid. The reverse grid number, it's not looking good for you, Chief. It's 12th place. And thinking about how this car races around the circuit, what does that kind of make you feel going to this? Are you still confident to work your way through? Are you expecting an awful lot of carnage?
Probably a little bit. I think maybe there's some people who get a bit greedy, but I'm just going to race my own race, see what happens in front, and most importantly, just stay alive.
Well, thank you, Matt, and maybe we'll be joining you in a few moments' time after the race too. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a tough one.
Thank you.
There we go. Matt Caruana, for the second time in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, is a race winner. Let's talk to someone, though, who's picking up their first. It is a first podium in the championship from Henry Moore. I said we were going to chat to Henry Moore at some point this season. It's not quite a victory. It's second place, but you did lead some laps. You were competing right towards the front. How does that feel?
Yeah, no, it feels good. Pace looks good. Just trying to bring home the points. Obviously, it's a long championship, so yeah, I'm happy with that.
Now, Guild didn't have quite a great race with obviously Leo and Remy having problems. You're obviously right the way up there. The previous round at Brands Indy, though, you were all kind of around each other. How's that kind of differentiated your own mentality for this round?
Well, to be honest, it just makes it a bit harder, you know, working with people that you can't communicate with. Just makes it a bit more difficult, but yeah, pace is good from all of us. Just, yeah, it'll come in the rest of the season, I'm sure about that.
You had 15 podiums out of 16 races last year in the Formula 4. You've now got 1 from 3. What are the chances of a big podium streak starting now?
Well, hearing about that reverse grid, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'll just get my head down, see what I can do.
What are you expecting from that race then? You know, because Matt was saying about how he's going to drive his own race, but obviously you're going to be starting from 11th place. It is going to be tricky out there. It's going to be basically big pack racing, but you can make moves in this car around here.
Yeah, you can make the moves. It just depends on how much of a scrap it is, really. Obviously, you saw in that race, long train, but I assume in race 2 it would be a long train, but a lot more battling. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, indeed. Henry, best of luck in the next race. Maybe we'll be dragging you back in for more interviews. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully. Cheers, guys. See you soon.
Henry Moore then, Formula Ford champion. We'll kick him out of the commentary booth and we'll take a look at the move that dropped him from first to second. What timing that is. Great move from Caruana then. And it was how Caruana then absorbed the pressure of Henry Moore and Graham Carroll behind as well, Cam.
Oh, definitely. I mean, especially a bit later in the lap, you're going to see Henry Moore having a bit of a wiggle to the inside, trying to have a look. And even here, look at the slipstream. Goes to the left-hand side to try and open up a potential move, but not quite enough. Caruana just hitting his apex perfectly there, not losing any time, not giving Moore the opportunity to even think about it. Here was the next opportunity. These two sort of almost hairpin corners there. You can see Moore keeping it to the left, not opening up. But this one, this is an interesting one. Turn 10, it opens up to the inside there, but Moore, interesting, deciding not to go for it, Lewis.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I've got to say, it's brilliant racing between the pair of them. It really does show nicely. It was clean. It was brave. Like I say, a bit of a look here, but just too far back to commit to it. And I do like, you know, again, there's the look trying to get them offline, but Henry Moore's not going to go for it too much. I mean, he's still thinking good championship points here, and he is in the championship contention.
Absolutely, and second place was still strong. Even for Graham Carroll, he wasn't trying anything silly either. I would have liked to see Moore be a little bit, you know, extra aggressive on this final lap, because he could have potentially had a bit more of a run maybe to that line there, or for instance in turn 10 or turn 11 he could have done something. So let's see obviously how he works out in the future, but hopefully he's able to you know, continue getting on the podium.
No Will Chadwick jump scare. It's just us. We are on the broadcast. Hello. This is what we look like. It's terrifying, I know. That was, again, great racing, great battling. You say maybe you want a bit more aggression. Trust me, we're going to get that in the second race. 12-car reverse grid. Oh, my goodness.
Absolutely. This is very tough. I mean, there's, different levels of difficulty, but this is, I would say, almost impossible to win from P12 in this series, especially with what we saw in the first couple of laps here. We saw the big train of cars, and then just one by one, it went down. Then it went to 9, then 7, then we got to the final sort of 5 on that or 6 on that final lap. So definitely a very difficult one for those drivers to try and win. But what they need to do is just confirm, let's say, a top 6, try and get up some places and save some good points.
Now, as much as we've just heard from Henry Moore, obviously we had Media Day at the start of the year. You've seen the interview from Kieran Prendergast, and obviously we had the one last week from Matt Caruana. We were catching up with a few of them on Media Day. Also on Media Day, or the day before anyway, we did actually get the chance to have a little chat with Henry Moore. Let's see how he was feeling before the season started.
I'm Henry Moore from Bath, racing for Guild Esports and the British F4 Esports Championship. So I got into esports, well, specifically sim racing through my dad. He raced in real life, but when I was younger I wasn't really into it, but I saw him racing and I wanted to get a wheel, so we just got a standard Logitech, and yeah, it just kept going from there. I love racing, so yeah, it's got to here now. Yeah, I saw the UK FS 1600 Esports Cup through my friend Brendan Lee. We were racing a lot together on the time in iRacing FF 1600, and he thought, yeah, why not, you should give it a go. So yeah, registered, did the time attack, and yeah, it went quite well in the end. In the racing in the Motorsport UK FS 1600 Esports Cup, it was really hard but really clean, which surprised me, because in those cars, yeah, it's easy to make a mistake and hook a wheel and you're round out of the race. But yeah, from everyone at the front and towards the rear, from what I saw, it was really good. This year for the British F4 Esports Championship, I've definitely done a bit more thorough as well. Kind of more set out goals for each practice session that I do. Before, it was in the FF 1600 Esports Cup, it was just get a few laps in, see what I can do. But now it's definitely a lot more thorough. My goals for the British F4 Esports Championship, just do the best I can. I know we've got a strong team going into it, so yeah, I'll try and win basically. Something about me that you might not know would be I used to play football for Chelsea back in the day. Nice. Yeah, that stopped a while ago, but yeah. Bit of rugby, bit of hockey, bit of tennis, bit of cricket. I'm a 3 handicap in golf.
My friend Brendan Lee. God, look at him, name dropping. Absolutely crazy, Cam. And he's a 3 handicap at golf, so he'd absolutely destroy. That's fine. It is what it is. He is now a podium finisher, of course, in the British F4 Esports Championship. It is time, though, to jump in and get ready for the second race. 12-car reverse grid. Oh, Cam, what's going to happen?
A lot of things are going to happen. Exactly what we're about to find out. That's why we come racing and do some live sport, because you never know. We've seen some interesting crashes already in that first race, some awkward tangling of wheels, which is potentially an important one to think about. But as the championship is concerned, this is the race where we have a large reverse grid. Those drivers who keep it clean and are able to still get a good result, that is how they end up on top. So, yeah, hopefully it's not too bad of a race, especially for these guys. The Williams cars, both of their teams not having the best start to the season. Maybe the 4th race is the one where they can, really get a grasp of what they're going to do this series.
Well, you can see it is hot and toasty out there on the track. As someone who was here for this weekend in real life, as Vince Kissy was as well, I can see is also in the YouTube chat, we can all confirm confirm that it wasn't that warm on this weekend. It was quite cold and quite windy, as it normally is around Zandvoort. But lovely conditions for us to go racing here on iRacing, and like I say, a lot of thoughts as to how this race is going to unfold. Got 80 seconds before we jump into the second race, and like I say, these are the races, in my opinion, the reverse grid races, are the ones that are going to define the championship more. Keeping out of trouble. If you get 0 points from this, well, you're really on the back foot now.
Oh, exactly. You could win all of the race ones, but those extra 8 race 2s, the reverse good races every round, are so important. And ultimately, that is, as I say, where championship's going to be decided. So if you want to be the one to be the most consistent, then this is your opportunity. I think today's track, though, is going to be very difficult. If you're even outside the top 8 on the first lap, second lap, it's going to be very difficult to jump up even higher, especially with how calm we saw everyone in the mid part of the first race. Maybe, though, they won't be so calm this time.
Yes, indeed. It is a big grid of top-tier drivers. And before we get into the reverse grid race, who do you think is going to win? Who do you think of that top lot, the likes of Matt Caruana, Henry Moore, Graham Carroll, who do you think is coming through the order cleanly? Because one of them's not. Let's be real.
I would say this is close to impossible. You know, I don't like sitting on the fence often when it comes to these predictions. I like my bold predictions. I literally have no idea who to put my money on. I do like the calmness of Graham Carroll over the first 3 races of the season, though. So maybe I'll put him to get the highest up the order.
To be fair, I'm surprised you didn't pick Seamus Shintani to come up on top of this.
Well, he's not in this race.
No, I know, but still,
you never know.
Back of the grid, the first one, and you still went for him. Absolutely wild scenes from Cameron Roger. The grid is set and ready to go then, and we'll walk our way through it in just a second. It'll be Manuel Biancalilla starting this one from the pole position. I'll read through it quickly though, just in case. Biancalilla will start from the pole with Chadwick alongside. Lafaro will start from 3rd position with McAuliffe in 4th, then Martau in 5th. And Jarl Time for BS competition will be starting from 6th position. The rest of the grid will see Isaac Price and Joni Kattler with Elias Riker, Graham Carroll, Henry Moore and Matt Caruana, the race winner of the previous race and where the reverse grid point was set. Sudachet will start from 13th position with Baldi in 14th. Haywood, Fitzpatrick, Espes and Brown. Big drama for Guild, being right the way down the order. Brown there, Gilbert even further back. Spets, Jasir, then Gilbert, then Kulik, of course with Prendergast and Muir. The final position on the grid will be Hull. It is a 25-car grid. It is going to be an absolute battle around here. 20 minutes is put back onto the clock, and Biancalilla will be starting this one from the pole. The race is underway, the second one here in international territory. It's not a particularly good start. I believe it might be from Jarl Tyne, who's dropped right the way back. There was someone who did not have a good start for about the 3rd or 4th row. Either way, though, for our race leader, it is a comfortable one from Biancalilla. Chadwick in tow behind, despite the dramas in the previous race, is still in 2nd spot in this one, so not too bad as they funnel their way through the second turn for the first time.
Yeah, you're correct. In Tyne is now battling his teammate Riker side by side. That's going to open up the door to Graham Carroll. Henry Moore to try and get the run. In the background, huge crash. One of the Williams cars going off just to add even more hindrance to their day. But we continue going on, racing up ahead. And yeah, rear wings going flying.
It was Graham. That was Graham Carroll. Beckham Jasir and Graham Carroll then having huge dramas at the start of this race. And Graham Carroll's a big one because that is one of our main championship protagonists, already having huge drama to open up the second race here as they head their way through turn 10. Out wide goes Manuel Biancalilla. We lose them behind the grandstands. We find them once more. Lafaro in tow. Then we've got Ryan McAuliffe not that far behind. Then, of course, you've got Quitiago Martau and then the duo of the G2 guys that are running, Price and Kattler as well. That is crazy, though. Graham Carroll out of the race. It's not a commentator's curse, don't worry.
Yeah, so he was... Yeah, we just saw him fighting with Riker and Moore. Moore's got past Riker. So I wonder if there's a 3-wide situation. It gets very narrow up at that point of the track coming up the hill towards Skyflax. So very interesting indeed. But as you come to the first lap, we have Chadwick doing an interesting line, trying to not get the slipstream. A bit of contact. Was that one of the prismatic cars pushing on the rear right of the Williams? And here we go. Yeah, it was 3 wide, almost 4 wide for a moment. Carroll getting bumped into the wall as well.
Yeah, I'd want to see that one from up above because that would look a little bit weird. Let's see. I mean, there's a little bit of contact that you could say maybe there was an echo in there, but there was definite like that was front, right, rear, left contact, and Graham Carroll just very unfortunate there. Basically wrong place, wrong time. Speaking of very unfortunate, what has happened here? Oh my goodness, Riker, after such a good result from qualifying and looking great on pace, has dropped right the way down the order in an enormous crash in the exit at T3. What's happened here?
Who was the other car? Was it Caruana? Yeah, it was Matt Caruana, ends upside down. That is a horrific crash. He was obviously couldn't do anything about that one, nor could Riker. Car on the inside spinning, and then, yeah, there is Caruana. That's such a shame from your race 1 winner.
It was McAuliffe as well to the inside, so close friend for Matt Caruana. The mates make contact, and not in a fun way, that's for sure. Wow, what a crazy start. We thought it was going to be crazy. It's even more crazy than we expected, as the top 3 have a 1.8 second or 1 second gap rather back to Isaac Price, Price Cattler, and Henry Moore in 6th. Now, he couldn't do it, could he?
I was just about to say the same. Insane stuff. Big movers in behind him as well. Vespez, Brown, Spets, Gilbert, all making 10+ moves. If we go back to the front, top 3 have got away. The Faro is in tow of Chadwick, who's pushing Bianca Lilla. They're not battling at this point. In the background as well, we were also seeing Cattler pushing his teammate for 4th and 5th.
Now, you'll absolutely see Will Chadwick play a very reserved role in this at the moment, knowing that the 3 of Price, Cattler and Moore are a big threat for this. So if you can kind of fend them off for as long as possible without them joining the fight, then maybe you've got something. Let's see what happened with Martau. So there was Jarl Tyner down the inside going into Masters, and Martau out towards the barrier. Let's say from up above. It was maybe a little bit too deep, was Tyner. It's a tough one. It's very tight, but I don't know.
In this series, and along with the Formula Ford as well, I've never seen so many like these front to rear contacts causing big spins. The cars seem to be very much on edge in those situations, and it's been multiple times, as you said, Lewis, the car on the inside dives down the inside, but they don't keep quite tight enough to the apex. They come out wide, and then once the contact is made, there's absolutely nothing that either driver can do.
Yeah, exactly. That is the important bit to note there, is that as soon as the contact is initiated, it's over, right? There's no like, oh, well, you can, like when you're rubbing wheels or stuff, there's you can maybe like kind of bring it back if you're like door banging in touring cars and stuff. That in this, as soon as you make contact, it's game over. It is done. And so we're seeing quite a lot of that at the moment. We're seeing some large separations in the group. It will be Bianca Lilla then leading from Chadwick and Lafaro, and I don't suspect there will be any real fighting between this lot, at least until Price, Cattler and Moore join the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just going to do their thing, try and keep it as a 3-way train in behind. And at the same time, the G2 cars are going to try and work together. They were 5th and 6th in the previous race. Can they get another double top 6? That would be very, very good for them indeed with where they're sitting at the moment. Chadwick, once again, in race 2, is looking strong. He's having issues, had made contact and spun around at turn 1 in that first race, but he's looking potentially to have an interview with Lewis McGlade later.
What a treat! What a trophy! My goodness. Well, there was that one round last year where you had to interview people because I was having some internet problems. Thankfully, we're not quite we're not at that point yet, so it's fine. But you can see the intense level of focus coming in from Chadwick. You can see the track maps in the background. I can see Snetterton up there. I can see Motorsport. I can see Brands. I can't see Zandvoort.
Oh, I see Hockenheim and VIR just sprinkling in there. What is that other one as well? We'll try and work that one out later as it goes on. But Chadwick is looking certainly very composed at this moment in time. Sometimes he's not always the absolute fastest driver on the field, but we do see he is very smart with how he goes about his races.
We do like a little bit of Chadders. No bias, but yeah, because generally speaking, if I do have bias towards Chadders, it's more because I want to see him ending up in a crash, to be honest, for the banter. That said, he is closing up the back end of Bianca, and the pair of them are pulling out a bit of a gap on Lafaro. We'll keep our eye on the gap, though, the important one between Chadwick and Price, because that's the it was 1.8 basically at the line. It's come down just a slight bit, but not much. Price is closing it down by a very, very small margin. The lap time across there from Chadwick was a 34.0. It was a 33.8 from Price. The reason why I picked those two out, or you can maybe say Lafaro is the more important one, but I thought Lafaro was maybe dropping back to the top 2. It's close, but it's just not quite close enough. As soon as he gets that slipstream, that train's there.
Oh, absolutely. So they need to keep that battle. Look at the 5 cars in behind them as well, being led by Espez. So very important point of the race, this mid-part. How close these battles are going to go, who's going to get the slipstream, and how big is the pack going to be coming into that final 5 minutes of the race. That's going to be very important over these next few laps to work out the situation that we're in, because that affects how they go about those final few laps, how they battle, who they need to battle, and how many overtaking positions they need to do. But for the likes of Henry Moore, who's had such a good start already, you know, he could sit back behind those G2 cars and relax, but something tells me he's not going to.
The thing is, if he ends up on the podium this way, I actually think Henry Moore might take over the championship leader, you know? Because
Crazy.
Matt Caruana obviously having the issues in that one, Graham Carroll having the issues in that one. Yes, they're being caught by Leo Brown and Remy Gilbert. Remy Gilbert obviously was the championship leader coming into this, but Remy Gilbert will have lost a lot of points in the first race. I think Henry Moore might take over the championship leader, Cam.
What a talent. What a talent, and so young as well, and just going to keep on improving. And this would be a good race, actually, because this is very much a racecraft race. Let's see how he goes about this. Not to get too eager going past the G2 cars. You know they're teammates, you know they're going to work together, and also the situation of the race. We go back a little bit further though. Leo Brown up in 7th place after a disappointing first race. Also for the Williams cars, can he get past Espes?
Careful, a little bit of a squeeze there going up towards turn 2. Leo Brown on the inside as Espes was going around the outside. Spets is also in this one, almost getting into the rear end of Leo Brown, coming off of the hairpin. Battling here would be unwise. It will stop any chance of you battling for the victory late on, as we'll see a look there at Espes, who himself has a couple of circuits. There's Barcelona and the Nürburgring. They do like plastering these on the wall, as do I. I've got a few downstairs, but it's fine. As they are very, very tight in this fight. We'll say it's good for Guild at the moment, as Leo Brown and Remy Gilbert are in 7th and 10th, comparing to, you know, obviously the likes of the Ferrari bunch, who aren't scoring very much in this because it's just Gogo Baldi left in 18th spot, and they were second in the champion coming in this. It is good for Guild.
Oh, certainly. As you say, Henry Moore's doing a good job, but doesn't score points for the main team, and that is what they will be focusing on. Coming in towards the chicane, this 5-car group is continuing on, and it's actually turning out to be quite a nice battle. And I do wonder, will they be able to catch those 3? Because if there's an 8-car push towards the front 3, that might be just what they need, as we're getting to about halfway in the race now.
Yeah, indeed. It's still looking that the lap times coming in from this group actually really, really good. It's exactly where they need. 33.8 from Lafaro on the previous one, 33.8 from Chadwick on the previous one, 34.2 from Isaac Price in the previous one. They're pulling out that gap as they look to the inside from Espes, trying to get past Leo Brown. Bit of contact once again between the pair of them as they depart the first corner at Tarzan. Up towards turn 2. Big look to the inside coming in from Alex Spets, who's just sent out Leo Brown a little bit wide there, and through also is going to come Remy Gilbert and potentially Sidorchek as well.
I think he will. That outside line, so powerful. 4 positions basically lost there for Leo Brown as they send it over the curbs up the hill. Very, very important to be on that high line, it seems. I don't know how Brown, with the bad exit that Espes got out of turn 1, I don't know how Brown didn't keep onto that. I wonder if he just got off the curb and onto the gravel a little bit. Certainly not ideal to lose those positions, and that gives a good opportunity for Williams, obviously between their 2 different teams, to score some decent points.
Yeah, Stats that you were on board with here, right on the rear end of Remy Gilbert as well, could throw his way a little bit further up in this fight, but I think their chances of going after a victory are basically as near as gone. The only thing that they have is if the top 3 battle and it allows the 3 behind them to catch, and there's a 6-car train that all fight, and that's kind of a lot of ifs and buts. If it happens, it will be completely out of their control. Pace will not be enough for a member of this group to go and take victory in the second race this afternoon.
Absolutely not, but it is getting, or staying close, I should say, between all of these drivers, so there's still some opportunities to come, but we are obviously counting down the laps now. The top 2 aren't doing anything too much at this moment in time. The Farah isn't obviously doing too much either, but in this battle up ahead, there's going to be Espes potentially losing the place to his teammate. No, not quite enough. Spets decides not to go for that one, but he's got to be careful, because otherwise someone in behind, such as Gilbert, is going to be sending it.
Like I say, a lot of opportunities. Oh, speaking of sending it, yeah, Remy Gilbert was, it was Leo Brown rather that was sending it, the second of the Guild drivers in this train. Really wide on the exit there of the Hugenholtz box as they head up towards Sky Black now, and like I say, it's a lot of 3-car battles ahead of them. It's 3 cars through racing, 3 cars 4th through 6th. There's a 5-car battle here. But again, same as what we saw in the previous race, no one's really fighting at the moment. Everyone's kind of remaining pretty patient for now, as, well, I said that too early, as Statulex is looking to the outside.
Yeah, Gilbert first trying the move. That slowed him down, and that's what's opened up the door for Statulex. And is there going to be a look for Leo Brown? I think he's on the left-hand side of us as we come down this back straight. It's going to be a huge send around the outside. He's got a teammate not to break himself into, so he backs out of that one and lets the 15 machine go ahead. So, yeah, still Brown at the back of this pack. And, yeah, he's looking a bit, a bit frustrated at that point, or this point in the race, as he goes almost into the back of Statulex onto the front straight.
Yep, indeed. Communication there already from Leo Brown. Obviously passed that one off. I think Leo Brown's been doing his answer test recently as well. He's been very busy behind the scenes. He's going to try and get to the outside. Looks to the inside, gets covered off there quite late by the 15 of Statulex, but all's fair in that one. There was no overlap from Leo Brown. He's trying to get past Statulex at the moment, but can't quite do it. Seeing his teammate, I think he was communicating directly with Remy Gilbert there to basically say, look, when I go to the inside, I want you to give me the slipstream so that I can get past this guy, and then we can work together to get past the 2 Williams.
He might not need it on the front straight, though. He goes to the left-hand side, very tight. He's given the room, though. He's going to have to be on the outside of Skybank. Not the easiest overtake, but does he have the bravery to hold it there? He might not have the speed, though. The inside line is where the groove is there, and unfortunately he has to back out of that one. What this has done, though, is he's broken him away from the slipstream of the 3 cars ahead, so that might work when we get up towards the front straight once more, but it's certainly, I think he's certainly the faster driver here.
And they're being caught up here by the 2 behind. Leo Brown has a big look to the inside of Statulex once again as they head into turn 10. Big slide coming off from the number 15. They are being caught by Conor Muir, by Joel Hull as well. So there could be some more joining into this fight as there is the position switched for Leo Brown. We'll say good point scores as well. I said about how Guild will be scoring all right in this. Really good point scores for Aston Martin, who at the moment are running in 1st and 12th with Manuel Biancalilla and Conor Muir. Also good for the 3M UK team, which has Will Chadwick, of course, in 2nd. And they have Joel Hull, who's worked his way up from the back of the field excellently into 13th at the moment.
Yeah, looking a bit better here at Zandvoort. And are we going to see Statulex try a dive down the inside? No, he's going to sit behind Leo Brown because they need to recover what we saw up ahead. Actually, look at Henry Moore. He's now finally starting to make a move on Catilla first of all. Where have they gone?
Yeah, I think there might have been a bit of contact going into turn 2, and this good result for G2 Esports not looking so good. Yoni Catilla sent out into the barrier. Was that contact with Henry Moore? What happened in that? We'll have to wait and see. We kind of lost it a little bit behind the advertising hoarding, but that would look like a fast crash, if anything.
Absolutely. So it's left of Price and Moore still battling for that 4th and 5th position, but that's obviously given a free place to the train in behind, which is still being led by Espes. We look at this front battle, though, because Lafaro, he was a little bit further back, but he's now well within this battle for the race victory. And surely Chadders is about to send something and try to make Biancalilla think. Maybe another lap or 2, actually, before we get to that point. But he will do before the end of the race.
Well, there's 3 to go at the line for Will Chadwick to try and find a way past Biancalilla, for Giuseppe Lafaro try and find a way past the pair of them. Let's take a look at this replay then. So Catilla's on the outside of Henry Moore as they head up towards turn 2. Moore on the inside. Yes, a bit of there's like a little NC, little netcode in that.
Interesting one. Let's see this again from Catilla's point of view. I mean, I don't think either driver did anything wrong there.
No, I think Henry Moore is holding his line. I think Catilla is super unlucky there. I know, like, Moore did move before, but then kind of held, like there was definitely a car width there, at least from my eye. But again, it's not our decision to make. That'll be one from the stewards. But Henry Moore there in 5th position, still realistically at the moment probably going to take over the championship lead. But I mean, again, what an incredible start to the season it's been from him. As we'll see the move come in now. Will Chadwick's closing in. I think the time for patience is gone. Look, they've got 2.8 seconds back to Isaac Price. There's 2 laps left to go, 3 laps left to go. It's kind of now or never. Let's go for it.
racing is so funny sometimes. You're friends for about 10 minutes in this race, following each other, not overtaking, like, yeah, we'll help each other out, we'll make sure we all get on the podium. And now it's all gloves are off, and they're just going to be starting to go for it these final couple of laps. A little bit of a half look to the inside there for Cheddars as he tries to make his way through on Biancalilla. The 14 machine leads the 88 behind, and then the 6 of Lafaro that we are on board with. Who is going to get this victory? Lafaro's been really out of it so far, hasn't really had an opportunity to even get up into second place, but if there's issues ahead, he can slide right through.
Yeah, indeed. This is, again, incredible stuff. Loving the look here. And, again, great battling as we head onto the penultimate lap of the race. This is going to get very exciting. It's going to get very testing, though, for the top grouping. Who's going to come through? Biancalilla leads onto the penultimate lap of the race. Lafaro's closing in. He's going to look now. Will Chadwick says absolutely not. Lafaro goes back to the outside, picks up the slipstream, cannot commit going around the outside of Tarzan.
Yeah, this is getting tense now, because Chadwick has to look in his mirrors, and ahead of him makes it even more difficult for him as they work their way through. Battles continuing behind. Spets was almost looking to get past. Oh, huge contact once again, similar to what we saw at Catalan just a few laps ago, and way down the grid we see Spets and Gilbert go.
Yeah, there's a big one in all that. That's a big shame. And like you say, for Brown and for Gilbert, for Gilbert, well, yeah, whatever. For Brown and for Spets, big crash as they work their way up towards turn 2 once more. I mean, we've seen some pretty big crashes so far this round, Cam, and like I say, with the elbows out racing that sometimes we expect in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. It's been pretty tame between this 3, though. That is going to change. The next, 3-4 kilometres from this point to the checkered flag is going to be very, very different.
Yeah, I think this track might be because there isn't really a straight apart from the straight. So let's see how this one goes. We see there's going to be a little kink. There's just a little kink here to the left-hand side, and as their lines just collide a little bit. Actually, it was massively to the left there from Spets. Did not leave enough room. We definitely saw Henry Moore leaving more, but let's see how we go on to the last lap. Chadwick's got to send it.
Yeah, there was definitely a big squeeze there. Here comes Chadwick there looking for victory. He's dragged right up to the rear end of Manuel Biancalilla. Gets to the outside as they head their way down towards Tarzan. This is where Caruana put on the move to seal the first race victory. Biancalilla is going deep into turn 1. It's going to be the outside run coming in from Will Chadwick, trying the exact same move as Caruana and trying it in exactly the same way. The outside as they head up towards turn 2. Biancalilla commits to the inside of the second corner, and Will Chadwick with the same move as Caruana's got the race lead. But Biancalilla says, I'm going to try down into turn 3. That one's not going to work, and for the Freedom UK driver, Chadwick has the race lead. Lafaro's come through as well to second.
That was an insane move by Chadwick. He sent it in turn 1, held it in turn 2, and Biancalilla tried his best, but as their lines came up on the exit of 3, Chadwick was able to have the high ground and keep his run. And as you say, Lafaro got through as well. So Biancalilla, who's led this race basically from the start, might be just in 3rd place.
This is cracking racing, though. Do you think Will Chadwick's got to defend a little bit coming down to the penultimate couple of corners? Obviously, we saw some drama there in the previous couple of races in the Formula Fords. Are we going to see any here with Lafaro behind?
I think we're looking good for Chadwick. He's got 0.4 of a second, and even Lafaro, I think he's going to be good from Biancalilla. What perfect timing from the 88 car to choose his opportunity. He had to work hard for it, but he's got himself to the front. 1 corner to go.
Yeah, indeed. Leo Brown won the opening race of the championship. The second one by Graham Carroll. The first one here, of course, at Zandvoort on this historic day of racing in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship went the way of Matt Caruana. And Will Chadwick will take the second victory of the weekend, of the day rather, and it will be his first victory in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Drag race across the line between Lafaro and Biancalilla will go Lafaro's way, but a superb victory for Will Chadwick to take his first victory in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, and of course, rightfully so, will burn the house down.
Yeah, what a move that was. I can't wait to see that one again, because that was just executed to perfection with how he was able to work that, the way he held to the mid part of the track coming down the front straight as well, so he kept Biancalilla on a tighter line to slow himself down. Crazy stuff there as we're going to see Baldy come across the line there in 16th place. unbelievable stuff that we saw here at Zandvoort. Big crashes, big overtakes, and big swings in the championship standings.
Yeah, saw Leo Brown coming across the line, crabbing like crazy. Saw the 2 Ferraris come over the line. And we're going to see this move again. It's almost a carbon copy of what we saw for Caruana there in the opening race of the day around the outside of Henry Moore. This time, Bianca Lilla on the inside line in the Aston Martin, the FIA UK driver of Will Chadwick to the outside. Big send, big move. It was super tight. The second bit of this, by the way, going down to turn 3 was really close. Bianca Lilla absolutely threw it in, had nothing to lose.
And look at Bianca Lilla coming up, and just as their lines get there, Chadwick had his car in the perfect position and was able to keep on with that. And of course, the Lafaro getting through as well. That was a big one for Bianca Lilla. If it was only a 2-car train, of course, he would have finished second, but Lafaro was able to get through and hold on. There's one point it looked like he was going to be dropping down and not being in that fight on the final lap, but in the end, he was able to get second place. In the background as well, keep an eye because Henry Moore was only half a tenth away from getting that 4th place, so he had a run to the line too.
And I will say, I'm looking at the points before this race started, so after 3 races of competition, Graham Carroll was leading the championship from Caruana from Henry Moore. What I'm seeing with that, because of the drama for Caruana and for Carroll, Henry Moore is your championship leader, for sure, leading the 2nd round of the Formula 4 Esports Championship. Here comes that move that you were talking about to the outside, the attempt coming in as Moore was trying to get it through there. Again, just brilliant racing between the top grouping. Despite that drama early on, I mean, G2 have the right to be a bit disappointed with that incident with Kattler and Moore, but sometimes that's racing.
Yeah, this has been a crazy evening of action. All 4 races, including the Formula 4, are great. How close was Moore to the line? I believe it was about half a tenth. Yeah, unfortunately, in this car, you just need that little bit longer. Oh, that was very close. I mean, a car length at most. So Henry Moore is looking very good in this championship. Of course, he had the big contacts, though, with Kattler, so that is obviously something to note. But from memory, don't think there was anything to worry about penalty-wise.
Well, we'll take a look at provisional results then from the 4th race of the season. The 2nd race of the evening, Will Chadwick, by half a second, will take the victory over Lafaro. Bianca Lilla will hopefully catch up with the top 3. I can see Will Chadwick's waiting. We'll drag him in a second. Isaac Price for G2 in a solid day for them. Will take 4th position with Henry Moore for Guild Academy, the new championship leader, in 5th position. Pablo Espez for Williams Esports Academy up there in 6th with Statulet for the Alpine sim racing team, involved in a fair amount of battling through that. 7th position, Colin Muir scoring some decent points for Aston Martin, of course, 3rd and 8th for him. Hull comes through to take his first top 10, so a brilliant drive from Hull in all of that. Remy Gilbert inside the top 10 for the Guild Esports team. Behind that, it'll be Kulik, of course, 11th position. Olivia Hayward for Prismatic, great result for them. Of course, to be fair, a solid result score when you think that Fitzpatrick there is also in 14th position. Prendergast between the pair of them in 13th spot in the number 99 Mentor driven by us car. Leo Brown down in 15th after crabbing across the line, just ahead of Gogo Baldi. Alexander Spetz finishing a couple of laps down after the late drama. Yoni Kattler after that incident with Henry Moore obviously will finish down in 18th position. Graham Carroll, early drama right at the start of the race with Jarl Tyne as well. Matt Caruana, big shame for him after a victory to open up the round here. Contact between himself and Ryan McCann, who came up right in front of him. 21st and 22nd for them. Martau, Riker and Jasir all retiring from the race. Graham Carroll still was able to set the fast lap after being sent back out of the pit lane with a repaired car. Let's jump straight in, though, to the interviews and drag in Will Chadwick to have a little gander, have a little chat, have a little chin wag. We had a little chin wag before the start of the season. Now we're getting one during the season. On to the top step of the podium, Will. What a drive, what a move again. Last lap, just left it to the last moment.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks in a row. I wasn't going to finish second 2 weeks in a row, so it's not too bad. It was a good move. Really clean fight with Manuel, and yeah, we worked really well all race to ensure that we got some good points. And yeah, no, thank you.
You seem to play the long game basically from the start of the race, right behind Manuel Bianchi after the first lap. Was that because you saw a big gap behind between 3rd and 4th, or was that always the plan?
I think you have to, in this type of racing, when everything's so draft heavy and when you don't particularly have amazing pace, like myself tonight, you have to play it smart and you have to keep your eyes open. And I just I did some good race management, I'd say. I made sure that I understood where the gaps were, and once I could push Manuel, I just focused on that, and then let's sort it in the last few laps to see who's where. I wasn't really fussed if I ended up finishing second again, but I obviously wanted to win, and I was quite happy with the move that I was able to pull off.
Now, obviously, you had a bit of an issue in race 1, but still, the reverse grid being 12, you were basically put right the way up there. How did you kind of like put what happened in race 1 behind you and then just jump straight into the second race?
I think mentally it was more of after the spin with the netcode. I initially thought I might have gone in a bit too deep, but I watched the replay and it was just unlucky with the internet. But I mean, these things happen in Formula cars. You can't be too mad about it. And yeah, I just got my head down. We were last after the end of the third lap, and thankfully a bit of chaos ahead ensued, and I was able to just get my head down, get into 11th, and my main target was just be in the top 15, give myself a chance at the reverse grid. And over the past week, it looks like I'm becoming a bit of a reverse grid merchant. So it's all right that I was able to capitalize.
Merchant, bandit, it's all the same thing. Well, congratulations, great victory, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Freem UK.
There we go. Will Chadwick then victorious here in the second race of the evening. We'll drag in Manuel Biancalilla to have a little bit of a chinwag as well. Manuel Biancalilla, great drive then into second position, or third position rather, on the road. Talk to us about that move.
It was kind of unlucky because I tried to defend, but at the end I did a mistake because then I let Giuseppe through because of that. So well, at the end of the day, I didn't have anything to do to defend. And Slipstream was just too strong. So yeah, it's the best I could have done today, I guess.
Yeah, it was a big send, obviously, going down into turn 3, where you tried to get it straight away back. Is there any real overtaking opportunity around the circuit other than turn 1 that you were really thinking of to potentially fire one, or was it kind of just like, right, well, I've made my bed now, time to lay in it?
I mean, if you go big balls up on the second straight, like the long right before, I mean, going on the inside, so. But yeah, it was like 100% crash unless both of the drivers are clever, so didn't even want to think about that.
It is a solid points haul though for the team as well. Conor Mule worked his way up the order in the second race there. So for the Aston Martin team, like you have scored decently in this. Are you focusing more on the team's championship or on the drivers?
I mean, at the moment, main focus on the team standings, and then at the end of the championship, then we'll see. But looking from the quali pace at the moment, we are not there yet, so we just try to score as more points as possible.
We'll see you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. We'll see you move your way forward. I'm sure we'll see you quite a few times this season on the podium. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Cheers. So Manuel Biancalilla then into third position. I can count, I promise. First 1, 3, and then 2, apparently. We'll bring in Giuseppe Lafaro, of course, grabbing an excellent second place, coming through and all that. Being patient behind Will Chadwick all the way through the race. It must be tough sometimes being patient all the way through, even though you can see the race lead right there and then. How did you find that one?
Ciao a tutti, hello everyone, and yes, it was a very smart race by me and by the whole trio in front, because we knew that if we would have battled, the guy behind would have catch us. So we did basically the whole race trying to push each other to gain those last stands to create a gap. And then let's fight at the end of the race. I tried to overtake William at the penultimate lap, but unfortunately he was really smart to cover at the perfect time. And then I overtook Biancalilla in T3, which is a very nice spot to overtake, I will say, also because it's one of the rare track corner where if you are on the outside you have an advantage. And for sure Biancalilla did a mistake and let me get the outside, and yes, it was a very nice race, a very clean race. Yes, I'm really proud of this podium, also because I think it's the first one of Aztec Racing Grid Finder. So really proud to be here today, also because the championship is extremely competitive, and it's nice always to deliver a good performance.
How did you? How have you been finding jumping into the British Formula 4 Esports Championship? Because it is kind of it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yes, it's a very tough one, and since we are all extremely competitive driver, the gap is really, really small. So you have to look into details to gain that extra bit of performance that basically give you 10 places, because I think this was a very strange qualifying with very big gaps, but if you look at round 1 qualifying, everyone was very, very, very near to each other, and there are some cases with 100 of attempts that gives you like 3-4 places, which is incredible, obviously. And this is a proof of how much strong is the grid this year.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to see you on the podium in the near future, because it's fantastic to see you up here. What an excellent drive. Cheers, Giuseppe.
Cheers.
There we go. Our podium covered off then, Cam. What a fantastic round of racing is. For the first time, I was going racing internationally here in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship.
And what a treat it was. That was quite some action that we saw. Some great overtakes, some huge crashes, and definitely a lot of entertainment indeed. So Zandvoort didn't disappoint, as you say, for the first time going internationally in this series. And hopefully it comes back, because it seems to work quite well in these cars.
Yes, indeed. Like I say, loved it. Obviously, we're now away for a couple of weeks before we get a trio of weeks of action. We're going racing at the Snetterton 300 circuit. And yes, Scary Tree is there as well. It's not been taken down in the virtual world. Don't worry about it. Should be a fun one. These cars race really, really well around there. Obviously, with just the style of circuit. Should be a tricky one to navigate. Cam, what difference of racing are we going to get there rather than Zandvoort?
It's certainly a lot more tight and narrow. I remember the race actually being quite entertaining last time, and someone ran out of fuel to the line. Was it just Landis? Maybe ran out of fuel to the line that day, and unfortunately missing out on the win. So definitely crazy things can happen at that track. Proper old school British racing. So can't wait to see. And of course they have an extra week to practice as well.
Yes, indeed. But then it will start the run where we're all going to start thinking about the championship, of course. Just a few rounds left to go. Here would almost feel once we're done with that little track. But of course, we've only done 2, and there's still 6 more left to go. So much drama has already happened. It feels like we've had a season's worth. We've got plenty more to come. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time when we return over to the UK and we go racing at Snetterton.